All right, welcome again, Coach Bob. The United Unbiased Show, and tonight we're going to look at football from a broader perspective, not necessarily so youth and development is from a broader perspective as it relates to how the state of football is now in Jamaica. And one of the things I want to start, I didn't know, say something that for me, Coach Bob, before me actually kick off and go to the points then, because I like your coach talk, coach full of knowledge, I
All right.
love that.
Well, again, just give thanks for the invite. And as a young professional like yourself, I really appreciate, what you're doing for the game, the country, and all the other um, activities around it. And in so doing, I just want to share some of my experience, that can enhance whatever you're trying to get done with your program. So again, give thanks for the invite and welcome.
All right, coach.
Yeah, man.
Now, the thing, coach, really want to talk to you about and getting your insight on it. Right now, Jamaica, we're not playing any football back home, right? Not playing any football back home because of this COVID. And I remember we had a conversation not too long ago, and we spoke about resources. We spoke about resources. And as a result, I want to look at how we, as management, as managers back home in those clubs, how you think COVID impact those clubs, and as it relates to, we want to restart the competition, but are we in a position to restart this competition back home, this Premier League, any level of football back home, given the given how our management thing set up back home, how our clubs are managed, our football, how it is managed. What do you think about that situation?
Well, just so you know, the COVID pandemic impact is impacting because it continues to. It
Yeah.
impacts all different kind of sports all over the globe, and even if you're watching EPL and La Liga, all them leagues, they still do not have fans in the stands, which is a big part of their revenue. Okay, so how they continue to finance their program, which includes salary and all them things, as far as the operational aspect of it. Television, they're still gaining, finances from the television contracts, and that's one of the main reasons why these sports programs, such as like the NBA, all them things, baseball. I know it's not related to Jamaica, but just to give you a perspective, and even specific to football in all of the other countries, right? The thing that's driving the continuity of their football is because they're getting TV revenues. And because some of these TV contracts is like, is a long, like 10, 20 years.
Yeah, massive contracts.
Yes, and they have to play in order to fulfill the contractual obligation, because most of the funds that they get to pay players and their old stuff, it's from, that's where they get the masses of their finances from. So what happens now is that some of these leagues, they are prorating the contracts of the players because of the revenue, because they have a unionized system that determines what management does and how management runs their program. So I don't know what that mechanism is in Jamaica as far as revenue. How does a team generate revenues, and under what system, and how does the generation of the money, how is it dealt with, based on the things that they use, the contractual agreements. So that's the thing that I want to know. Where does and how does the management teams in these clubs, how do they generate the revenue? How do the players get paid? Where, what's the sponsorship and all that kind of stuff. So that's a big part of the whole thing. And also, what I do know, as far as I know, in the United States and other parts of the world, some of these clubs, they have to operate under the guidelines of the Centers of Disease Control. They set the protocols in terms of, how many people you can have in the stadium. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if you have a CDC in Jamaica that's working with the club management to say this is how you can. Just like I know they have some protocols around funerals, right? You can only have X amount of people.
Health ministry definitely. Health ministry definitely work with the teams. But the reason why I start at that level, let me tell you why I start at that level. Because at the end of the day, we are talking about developing football in Jamaica.
Right.
Developing football in Jamaica. And if you realize we want to be on a level where we are able to compete with, probably not financially, but as it relates to quality players, we want to be on a level where we can compete with the likes of United States, the Mexicos. We want to be able to go to Europe and to be competing on a good level in Europe as Jamaicans. And the funny thing about that is our program back home, it is so far behind. It is so far behind. It is holding back our development. And look at it now. When you have a situation like this, almost everywhere you can think of that we play football, they're actually resuming playing football. Quite a few places. You go to Europe, they're resuming in Europe. The States, you name it, they're resuming football. Brazil have this COVID outbreak, significant outbreak in Brazil. They are resuming football. Jamaica, the outbreak, it is not so significant when compared to some of these major bodies. But still, we are not able to monitor our system in such a way where we are now able to return to football, resume football, play football, lack of resources, lack of management, you name it, lack of things in place. I don't want to say on a professional level, let's say even on a semi-professional level, where we could find ourselves in a situation that we could actually resume football. We can't do that.
Why? Why is that?
Because of how our football is run. I can remember a voice note that I listened to. All right. Yeah, as I said to you before earlier, that the voice note from Damian Lowe, and it's how we operate as a system in Jamaica, how we operate as a system. When I was playing club football back home, right, it's mainly the manager's money. And I mean, so it's private money, right? They pull from their businesses here, pulling from businesses there to actually fund some of these clubs, to actually give some of these players cash in their pockets, right? And when you look at things like that, it is not moving our football forward. It is not moving our football forward. And that's one of the biggest problems I have. And that is one of the reasons why I'm so focused on youth football, where we can have some of these youth growing up, moving overseas, playing at the highest level, and coming back to contribute to the development of our football in Jamaica. And if you see where I'm getting at.
Yeah. I understand that. So just so I understand you clearly now, you say you want to see, so you're looking at the development from the youth stage.
Yes, man. Because
all right.
right now where we are, what can we do? What can we do right now? Because the situation is dire back home.
All right. Let me just say this. And I wanna before I get to that other question.
Yes.
I wanna you talk about the restart of other clubs and programs all over the place, right? Now, what I do know is most of these restarts in other countries, is all about money, finance.
Always.
Right? Where I say, you know, there is a financial obligation that these clubs have to pay their players, right? And sponsors, just like you mentioned, the club management, you know, is using money out of their kitty,
Yes.
out of their funds to sponsor the clubs. It's the same sponsorship that drives these clubs here in outside of Jamaica. I.e., it goes back to television contracts. Now, part of the television contracts is the television sells advertisement. So the advertising company, buy the television, sells them ad time. So that's a revenue generator, right? And then now you have corporate sponsors that are not specifically related to management. So in other words, you have corporate sponsors, they would sponsor those teams because what they do, especially in the States that I know of, is they get a tax write-off for doing that. You see what I'm saying? So there are various aspects of generating funds by these professional clubs. So for the restart, because they have obligations to pay players, they have to ensure that they have avenues of generating those funds to play. So that's the main reason why some of these clubs and leagues and things are open up. I don't know how the Jamaican system works. I don't know if it sounds to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you're saying is that the sponsors are the people who are among management.
Most times, because what happened back home, right? They do have sponsors, but it is expensive to run a club.
Absolutely, yes.
It is
yes.
expensive. All right. Let's just look at, I'm just looking at, you playing, let's say, Division 1 football, right? Division 1 football. And these are just some youths from in and around the community that you pick up and you say, hey, guess what? We're going to play some football. They are not being paid. But just to travel to games, it is so expensive. You might find that no one wants to do it. And so these are some of the things that I find really annoying as a former player, right? Where you see talent, because I would love, as I said, I would love to sit now and look at my TV. So I'm looking at my TV. And when I look at my TV, I can identify 10, 12, 20, 30 players, quality players. And I'm not talking about those players now that we go overseas to get them, because guess what? They are from, and they're
local talent.
I'm talking about local talent, right? Local talent. We produce local talent here and send them overseas, and they can return to contribute to our program. That is exactly what I'm looking at.
So that's your hope, or is that's what happens? What is that happening?
That's my hope.
Okay.
I know.
Well, go ahead.
And so I'm saying, talking to you now, and based on your wealth of knowledge, how do you think we can move from this point A to that point B, where we can actually be producing 20, 30, 40, 50 players that is competitive in multiple leagues across the globe?
And then come back to Jamaica and contribute. Okay. All right. If you look, you know what you call that? You see that concept of leaving Jamaica, achieving whatever success or whatever, and coming back to contribute? That's a tough one. And I can tell you, it's a part of what they call brain drain, right? Just like any other career. I mean, how many doctors got the opportunity, attorneys and engineers, leave Jamaica ascertain a certain amount of knowledge, success, how many of them come back into Jamaica and do what we're saying here, right? It's tough. So I mean, because see, it's not just the football that will determine whether the person comes back or not, or the success. There's certain other aspects of life and living and relationships that will determine that. You see what I'm saying? So from that perspective, it's hard for me to give an opinion on that. Okay, because I've seen where it's just like you have. I see a lot of folks come here. Student exchange, right? Come from Jamaica, come here in the United States, and they go to university, they achieve certain success. I see a lot of them remain here, they become citizens, and they start a family here, and that's it, right? So it depends on the system. I know like in Cuba will take people, and then with the expectation of them coming back to Jamaica and contributing. This is what they do with the medical workers, the doctors and stuff. So we don't have a system in other parts of the world that is designed like that. It's because once a player comes here, then that or go to England or wherever, that player now has the ability to become a citizen living there, and then that creates a whole another story, right? But let's speak about the development of that player to get to that point where he gets an opportunity to come out of Jamaica, right?
Exactly.
And you mentioned the fact that players play Division One, but they can't get there because they can't afford to get there because they don't get paid, right? And I know at one point in time, the Jamaican national team was like that. Man have him 9 to 5, and him have to finish 9 to 5, and for trade and all them kind of things, So how do we mature or evolve out of that situation? Now, what I do know is that you talk about local talent, right? Now, my question is, how do we, and I still, even though I am out of Jamaica, I'm still a Jamaican. Yes, I mean, for that,
Yeah, definitely.
Right? So I still consider myself as a part of that system, right? But how do we get to what is the formula to get to that position where you have a pool, right? Because you have to have a pool to extract the talent from. So what is the formula to get to that pool of players? You know what I'm saying? So there has to be a formula. Just if you're going to solve a mathematical problem, then if you wanna solve the derivative of something, there's a formula to get you there, right? As a student, you know that. So what is the formula? What is the formula that's gonna get us to arrive at that situation where you can see 10, 20, 30 talented players with the ability to come out and compete on the international level? Because when we talk about international, there are, hundreds of other countries. So what I normally do, I say, let's look at models. The countries that we see players coming from, performing on that level, okay? We need to look at their models and see how did those players that we are aspiring to be like, or that situation that they're in, we need to have a model to see how did they get there. You see what I'm saying? Because if there's not a formula or a model, then we can't just magically get there. You know what I'm saying? Just like, to give an example, when I took common entrance, right? It was a model. I started elementary school. And from grade 1, grade 2, all the way coming up, you have teachers that are looking at you. Once they determine that you have this ability, they said, okay, we want you to take common entrance. So come, after school, you're going to come take that private lessons. It was for free. And they kind of they kind of trained you to go take that test, and that's how, you know what I'm saying? So that was a model at my time. So it's the same thing with the game. And it's a question. So you're asking the question. So first of all, my opinion, we need a formula. Okay? How do we get the formula? I mean, there's no written formula in stone. There's no x squared plus y squared equals c squared. There's no that formula, right? So we have to develop a formula. Okay, how do we get to that spot? Now, I will suggest what I believe the formula should be based on the models of other countries and systems that I see get to where we're trying to get, because we're not there yet, right? Okay, so having a local, you want local talent, you have to have a pool of players locally to choose from, right? Because the pool is not going to come from anywhere else, right? So how do we develop a pool, right? That pool starts from the younger age, because those are the players that, if you're looking for a player with that talent at age 16 or 17, then that talent is not going to just appear at that age.
No, absolutely no sense. It could not.
So, right. So now what I see in other models, right, is, and I can speak for the models that I've been a part of for decades, right? It starts youth, okay? So that 6-year-old will become that 16-year-old talent. So between 6 and 16, what do we have planned there? What I see in Jamaica is that we get the raw talent. So we may see a kid at 6, and then his development from 6 to 16 is just based on his raw talent. So what do we have in that space that is going to help to harness and get that talent? Because talent has to be developed. You know what I'm saying? So how do we hone in on that talent to polish it up? You know what I'm saying? So that we can look for that evolvement. You know what I'm saying? Where it's going to evolve into that talent, and then get to that space where we want to get it. There must be a formula.
You know what I really think would be a very good way of doing this? A friend of mine, right? We were having a discussion, and I'm thinking, where are the kids? They are in schools. That's where they are.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's exactly where they are. Now, how do we get these kids in schools to move from that point where we're just looking at the football game, looking at even sports, right? Starting to enjoy it, just starting to play it, to at a level where they are professionals. And one of the first things I'm thinking about is, you see, these institutions that train teachers, because teachers are the ones that are going out in the classrooms to find these kids at age 5, age 4, age 3. I am thinking that at these schools, at these institutions, and I'm talking about the PE teachers now, PE teachers. I think PE teachers should be exposed, right? Should be exposed to various levels of coaching. Various levels of coaching. And I'm not talking about you going through the processes, doing your credits, getting your degree, going into the classroom and say, yes, you're a PE teacher. I think you should be trained as a coach, whether it's track and field, cricket, you name it, and most importantly, football here. So when they go into the classroom and they're addressing situations like this, they should be able to help with the development of these kids. And I'm talking about coaches. I'm not talking about a teacher who decides that, hey, guess what? We're going to have a PE class and we spot a talent and we're going to try to harness that talent. I'm talking about a coach that is trained. So these institutions, right? The MICOs, the GC Fosters, the University of the West Indies, wherever they're getting these degrees, they should have these programs, these coaching programs, whether it's the level 1s, the level 2s. You can tell me more about it. All right? Your different license. Make them available as part of the school programs. Make them available as part of the school programs. Put them in the credits. So when you send these coaches out who are PE teachers, and they're out there, they could actually identify, spot these talents, and then try their best to harness these talents. And they could actually develop programs within these communities that could help to move the kids forward. That is one of the way I'm looking at it, because right now it's not easy to have a program in place to go around multiple communities. But these teachers are leaving the universities and they're going into the communities to get jobs. So they're the ones who could actually identify these young talents. I don't know what you think.
So let me ask you this now. Before I give you my personal thoughts, I want to ask you this. So what level are you mentioning these teachers supposed to be, that idea? What level, what schools, elementary, high school, or where? Starting from what level?
From elementary, for sure.
Okay, fine. All right, good. So now are you saying that so that means that you're saying that they should have that type of a program in the schools? So
in the universities.
No. I hear what you're saying. So the university should offer that as a part of the degree program, which is fine. Now let me ask you this now. Is the schools equipped, right? Would that be a part of the school's curriculum? Where because right. I know, because see what I correct me if I'm wrong, right? And especially when I was in Jamaica going to elementary school, and what I saw here in elementary school, right? I don't see that in no sports, right? The PE teacher is specific to the physical component of what the curriculum, the physical education curriculum requires. Yeah. So what I'm saying to you is that absent the specificity of that curriculum,
yeah,
then which now that's you going into another area now, which the Board of Ed now is going to determine that, so that if these teachers go into those institutions to acquire all of this stuff here, then there has to be a platform for them that is available to them, to exercise that training. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of components to that. It's a good thing, but I'm saying, is there a particular aspect of the curriculum in the elementary school level
that speaks
that could address that kind of a training that you are?
You see,
it's good.
What I'm looking at is this. Now, let's go to football. Regular PE class. We go through similar programs at school, at PE level, where we go through the different, as I said, physical aspect of it, right? How we control, how we pass, how we move on the football field. We do that in PE class, but not at an in-depth level. But what I'm saying is, these PE teachers, when they get to these institutions, they're the ones who are responsible to actually train these kids if there's a sports program at the school.
Right.
All right. So after school, because I can remember when I was a young teacher, when I just started out teaching, I was the coach of the football team.
Yeah.
I was the coach of the football team.
What level? What level school?
Under 12s. Under 12.
That's elementary school.
Yes, elementary school. So under 12s, all right, I was the coach for the under 12. Now, what I'm saying is this. At the under 12 level, we are looking at kids, say starting from the 4th grade. So we are looking at age 9, age 10. Age 9, age 10. But these kids, we are the one who are teaching them at, what you call it? At grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4, grade 5. So if we have this training where we can actually, during PE lessons, because you know that you can spot talent. You can spot talent, right? You can spot talent. And not only the talent, when you have PE lessons, you can actually make these lessons so much fun that these kids can actually enjoy the sport and they can pull to the sport, gravitate to the sport. That is how I'm looking at it. And then when you have these programs, after school programs, where you are going to be coaching kids, but it's just any, as you say, you just get a parent from the community and say, okay, you know what, we have some football program in the afternoon, I just want you to come and help me out. No, we have persons now who are trained for this. So when we go after school and we have our training sessions 5 times per week, right here, we can help to develop these kids into better players. That's how I'm looking at it. I don't know how you see that.
Okay. Let me ask you this question. So were you, when you say were you just a coach or were you a teacher as well at this school?
Teacher.
Okay.
I was a PE teacher at the time.
Just strictly PE teacher?
No. I was teaching. Okay. I was not only PE teacher, but I was the PE teacher for that at the time.
Right. Okay. So what I'm saying here, the PE teacher is specific to physical ed, phys ed. That's it.
Yes.
Right. So in the elementary school system here, the PE teacher is specific to PE. So
we have
PE
that back home. We have that.
Right. But I'm just saying. Yeah. But I'm just saying. Right.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm asking you if you were just a PE alone.
At the time, yes. At the time when I went to school, I was specific.
Just a PE alone.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So now, was there a specific curriculum that you had to teach from?
For PE?
Say, well, yes.
Yes, man.
But so what was it specific to?
As it relates to the sport?
Yeah, sports.
Yeah.
As it relates to sports.
Football, track and field, cricket, those were the main ones.
Okay. So the curriculum is specific to that.
Yes. Football, track and field, cricket.
All right. So is that what you were referencing when you said that these higher educational institutions should prepare those teachers to address the specifics of these individual sports? Yes.
So they do it, but what I'm saying is, for example, no, when I go home, I would say I'm going to do my coaching badges. That's how, are you coaching license? That opportunity should be available at the university level for these teachers, if you understand what I'm saying.
Right.
Yes, so leaving from the university, along with your degree, you're now a certified coach of football. You have your license, you mentioned something like D license. I think you mentioned D license to me, B license. So you kind of incorporate these license within the school curriculum.
Who would be responsible for doing that? That's the question that I have.
No, that's exactly what I'm saying. The school itself, if you incorporate that in the program at that level, so those persons who are responsible for writing the curriculum at that level, for whatever, for the science, for the arts, you name it, for the sports, those persons who are doing that should have persons coming in, person like you, who could actually train coaches, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yes, man.
Okay. Yeah, that's a very good idea. That's a very good idea. You know, that's like I said, I endorse that 100%. You know, but let me get back to the spool system that I was talking about, right?
Yes.
So therefore, you would have those folks with that kind of training to monitor and continue that developing that talent up to when they get to 16. Okay.
Yes.
Now, I've never seen that in Jamaica, and obviously, based on what you're saying,
It's not there.
it's not there, right? Okay. Now, I don't see that here either. Okay. How they generate the pool, right? Because it used to be where I look at the involvement of American football, soccer, really. Because when you say American football, you're talking about the drag down, throw down thing, and not football. But I just wanna make sure that we are using the appropriate language, right? But I've been watching the development of American soccer football in America, right? And it used to be where talent was lacking, local talent was lacking. And what the American system would do, they would go fishing. When I say fishing, they would go to all over Europe and places like that, and they would try to get the third division player who has some connection, great grandfather, because they have a lot of different criteria to meet the citizenship thing, right? You can have a great grandmother who you could be born, you could be born over there. Let's say you could be born in UK, but your great grandfather was a United States citizen. Then that would give you, citizenship to play for the country, right? So this is what America used to do. They would go there and they would find these third string players, but the problem was that it's not the Division One player them, so they still couldn't match up with the rest of the world. Now, because the US is in, and it's not a, this is just a reality, because the US is in the CONCACAF is one of the weaker,
No, it is. It
areas,
is. We
right?
have to face
When
reality.
you talk about CONMEBOL, I mean, that's just ridiculous, crazy. You talk about Africa Cup of Nations. I mean, those are some serious divisions. So because the US is in this region, they were getting away with it for a while until Mexico start their development system. And Mexico is now at the top of the class in CONCACAF, right? And it's all about a development system. So what the US did now, the US ventured away from that. If you look at the US today, most of their players are local homegrown players that were developed here in the US. If you look at that, right? Now, so now here's how I've seen it as a youth coach, watching this whole thing, is that the development starts not in the school level, but in the club level, right? There is no elementary school around that has any program that you just mentioned about, teachers and all that stuff. In no sport, it doesn't exist, right?
Well, let me ask one question though.
Yeah.
As it relates to the school programs and competitions that these elementary schools play in, the football competitions, they have them though?
No.
Oh, but that's
elementary school has no, the only competition that I'm aware of that elementary school has is what they call cross country. That's it. There's no sport development in elementary school that I know of, both from New York City or here that I live in.
But in Jamaica, that's the thing. In Jamaica, that would be the equivalent to the club in United States. Because
no, it's not. I'll tell you why it's not equivalent to the club.
No, not equivalent in terms of quality. But what I'm saying is this: the school for us would be the place where we have the young boys playing the football competitions.
Right. Okay.
That's it.
You understand?
I'm not
Yeah.
really talking about the quality. It's just that the competition itself.
Right. So in that aspect, I can understand what you're saying. It's like the equivalent, right? Because here's the thing here in the US, right? You see high school football, the clubs here, they discourage their better talented players from playing high school football.
In Jamaica, no way. In Jamaica,
I know that's
creme de la creme competition.
I'm saying. I know that, right? But I'm just saying this, and this is because they believe, and I've seen it, that high school football here in the US is a joke. A joke, right? So, but however, there is more opportunity outside of the school for that development. You see what I'm saying? Because the professionals, you see the professionals that you're talking about now that should come from the universities with those kind of training, they're at the club level here. They're not in the school.
No, you see, all right, that's the funny thing about now, because I am looking at it from a Jamaican perspective,
Yes.
where we do not have the clubs. We don't have the clubs out there. We don't have the clubs where we're going to play these football. What we have is the players in these schools, because as you mentioned, no, you can see the flip side of this thing, why Jamaica is not matching up to a United States in CONCACAF. No, because
remember what I said? Remember what I said? Look at models,
yes,
formulas.
yes.
Okay, so apparently, the formula in Jamaica, the model is not working.
Definitely, because
right.
What they're saying is they're encouraging the players at high school level not to play in these high school competitions. However, in Jamaica, that is almost...
No. That's not what I said. No. Let me clarify what I said.
Uh-huh.
The youths
Uh-huh.
that come through the club development, like from age 3, 4, 5, 6, even through elementary school and middle school. Once those youngsters develop the talent, the coaches now tell them, don't go to play high school ball. Don't go to play, right? The club.
So that's what I'm saying.
Okay, good, right? So what I'm saying now is that, that is the model, that is the formula that is working not only here in the United States, but also in other parts of the world. So obviously, so that's what I'm saying. We got to look at the model and create a formula based on the other models and see how we can, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, a model that works and is working still.
Yes.
Yeah, because that's why I'm saying we are actually like the opposite, because our high school football in Jamaica is the premier competition, and as a result of that, we are encouraging everyone to play in these high school competition, where places like America, other parts of the world, right, who are now producing quality players on a professional level, they are encouraging these players to stay away from these competitions. That's what you're saying, right?
Yes,
exactly.
yes.
So we are doing the opposite.
Because their development is coming from the professionals that you say you want to see in the schools in Jamaica.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So, and look, I used to have a problem with that, but then when four of my children played high school soccer here in the US, right? And I go and I watch, and as a coach, club coach, I mean, it's terrible. And some of these high school coaches, they got license. My kids knew more than what these coaches knew. You see what I'm saying? So I could understand that. You know what I'm saying? But see, I told my kids, I said, listen, high school football, it's high school football here in the US to me, right? It's more fun because you're playing under the lights, you're playing with your classmates that you see every day. So it's more like a fun thing, more so than a development thing.
Hold on. Wait, let me ask a question. So high school football is not inter-school, it's intra-school.
No. It's school. You go all over the place and play different schools, just like Manning Cup. But what I'm saying is that the team is made up of youngsters who are classmates.
The team. Oh,
yes, youngsters they live in the same community because you go to your zone school. You see what I'm saying? You go to your zone school, so you may live in the same. See, my daughter, my eldest daughter, most of the majority of the girls that was on her high school team were on her club team from she was like U6, because we were in the same area, the same neighborhood. So your school is zoned for where you live, and you have to stick to that. It's not like Jamaica where you can live over there and go there. You understand me? It don't work like that here. So that camaraderie, you know what I'm saying? And then what happened? Kids are going home together. So here's the thing now, like my daughter could catch a ride with her friend's mom, who would take like 6 of them home because they go to the same place. You see what I'm saying? So that kind of camaraderie, was more on the high school level as opposed to, well, this is what I'm going to use as a career, because most of these kids that are playing, they're not looking at the game of soccer or whatever that particular sport is as a stepping stone for a living. Because even if they get that college scholarship, they're going to college on the scholarship to get a career that has nothing to do with the sports that they got the scholarship from. You see what I'm saying? And once they get that scholarship and they go to school, they graduate with their 4-year degree or whatever, they just deal with soccer as a little recreational stuff. Or, you know what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? So the difference is that from these quote unquote the so-called third world countries, most of these players are looking to use the football as a way to get out of whatever their unfortunate circumstances are. You have players here in the United States, most of the black players, in the basketball, that's what they do. You know what I'm saying? Baseball, that's what they do. However, the majority of, because the percentage of the athlete becoming that professional, it is much more smaller than it is as far as getting a career like, say, in engineering or teaching education. Opportunity is much more better for you to get a job in those other careers. So that's kind of like how it works here. But however, in terms of that developing talent, the model that is used, it's a club model. Then you go into what they call the academy. You see what I'm saying? And then it intensifies more. So the academy now is looking to elevate you to the next level based on that talent. But for you to get to the academy, you have to demonstrate a certain degree of talent, and then you're paying to go to these academies here in the US. You know what I'm saying? So that is the model, the formula, and a lot of times, that child have to have the resource or someone sponsoring him. You know what I'm saying? To get to that level.
We'll work in Jamaica.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So I'm saying that until we can come up with a formula. I'm not saying a system, because when I hear system, I'm thinking system of play. You know what I'm saying? But I'm talking about a model Because development, yes, there's a system, but you know, it has to be modeled off of something in order to get to that accomplished position. You know what I'm saying? So what I say is I look at models. You know, in law they call it case study. So if I'm talking about something like, okay, well, there's a case study over there. Let's look at that case study. So you can, so it's the case study is the same thing. It's similar to a model. You know what I'm saying? So this is what I know, that how, you know, how not just in the game of football, but in everything, law. In law they call it case study. If I'm going into court and I'm going to reference, you know, some kind of recommendation to the judge, I say, hey, look at that case study in 1968, you know, Brown versus Tom. And then you have something there that you could go see, and you see, yeah, this is
somewhere.
You see what I'm saying? You see that, you know what I'm saying? So, but for us, see what I find a lot of times is when we talk about, you know, the state of something and the development of something, you know, we just talk just figuratively and theoretically. Okay. I mean, it's like if you're gonna build a house, you got to get an architect to design something that you could look at and say, this is a model. This is, you know what I'm saying? If you go in to buy a house in a subdivision, right? They have models that are set up, and hey, come look at this model to see, is this the one that you want to purchase? So they have like 3 or 4 different models. You see what I'm saying? But there is something that you could use to develop whatever concept or formula that you want to use. You know what I mean? So you have to look at what is successful. Just like if you go back to the early days of football, Cruyff, right? The Dutch system, man, they were the architect of that system. So people model that stuff. If you go even back earlier, the formations. It used to be 5 forwards. It used to be like 5-4, 2 defenders back then, right? I don't know if you remember that stuff. I forgot they have the W, they used to call it the W system or whatever they call that, right? You know what I'm saying? You laugh. It used to be 2 defenders. You know what I'm saying? Now it's like reverse. I got 5 defenders. You know what I'm saying? So systems has evolved. You know what I'm saying? And I think, just like you mentioned it, what I believe, and this is my opinion, the Jamaicans, you know, we have not evolved, okay, to get to that stage where we would like to see us get to compete on the international stage, because we're still at the level, sounds to me, and I've been out of Jamaica, man, for what, 50 plus years. And sounds to me as if we're somewhere still there or just a little bit above that. And if you look at countries, you look at a place like Panama, you know what I'm saying? When I saw Panama emerging, you look at their system, you know what I'm saying? They have a system that, you know, that starts at a younger age. It's more financed, you know what I'm saying? Because you can't really do too much without money. That's the bottom line. So the revenue has to be generated from somewhere or from someone. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know the Jamaican system that well to know how is that feasible or possible. You know what I'm saying?
At that grassroots level, no.
Right. Now, here's how they generate funds to operate these youth leagues here. It's a pay-for-play system. That's it. Pay for play. Because if you, just like in Jamaica, if these youngsters don't have the ability, the financial ability to go and join these clubs, they're not going to play. They're not going to play because they got to pay these coaches. They got to pay every coach. These club coaches have to get paid. So how do you pay the coaches?
That's
right?
exactly. You see, no.
How do you pay the coaches? It's a business here.
I know.
How do you pay the coaches? So what they do here now is They got fees, right? You gotta pay for your child to play. And then also, here's what they do. Each club, they do tournaments. Tournaments are the biggest revenue generators in youth football in America here. Tournaments.
How is that done now?
Okay, all right. A club puts on a tournament, right? So they invite other clubs from other cities, states, everywhere, right? And they charge a tournament entry fee. So let's say a club is charging like $600 for the entry fee, right? And they get like, let's say 40 teams. Do the math. Clubs are generating $200,000 from tournaments. And that's after they pay expenses, because the parks, the park fees are cheap. You see what I'm saying? But to rent the park for that day or two, man, it's not all, because these are public parks. You know what I'm saying? City parks. So you don't pay that much for the rentals. You know what I'm saying? So once you generate that stuff and you send, you sell like your paraphernalia, your memorabilia stuff there, you have concessions and all that stuff. That's how they make majority of their money. Plus, because even though I have a team in the club, right? My team has to pay to enter the tournament. Separate from the fees that my players pay, for to be in the club. You see what I'm saying? And then they get sponsors from Nike, because Nike comes there and put up their logos and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So the teams are getting sponsorship from those companies. You understand me? And when they buy the uniforms from those companies, they get them at a discount rate, and they mark up the price to include in the price of the fees that these parents are paying. So it's a monetary thing. So until we can find a way to generate those revenues, then
we're not going to.
No, I wouldn't say we're not going to, but that's what I'm saying. Until we can find a way to do that, then we can expect that we're gonna have, all of this great talent to come, because this is what the people that are competing on that level, this is what they're doing. That is their model. That is their formula.
All right, and I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna see how I'm gonna do this from a practical perspective back home.
Realistic.
Yes, man. I'm gonna be realistic about this.
Yeah. I
remember when we were playing parish football, because this is our competition. And let me start back from when I said from the universities, these persons are trained, the PE teachers are trained and given the license when they are leaving these institutions. Now, when we have these teachers, all right, I don't want to call them teachers from that perspective. When we have these coaches, in these schools, because this is where we play our competition. We play our competition with school, and we take these competitions serious. Now, in the afternoons when we are doing our training sessions, the parents will not have to be worrying about finances, because they are paid. These teachers are paid. All right. And most of these teachers, for example, when I was doing it for the love of it, not because I was paid as a coach. I was not paid as a coach. I was just paid as a teacher, but not as a coach. So I was coaching after school for the love of it. And not only for that, for my personal development. For my personal development. And now, where we have a situation like that, where we go through these schools, we go through these programs, and we have these programs up to age 12 at the primary level, right? Now, we can have, because normally we have parish football. So we have parish football. So we don't only play for the school, we have parish football also. All right. We have parish competitions that we play. And where we go around and we play against other um, teams. Even in Colts, where they have those competition in the city in Kingston. So when we have I don't want to say student, when we have players, youngsters exposed to the quality coaching from that level, all right, when they're exposed to, because I keep saying to myself, when I was growing up, I play off natural ability all the way through natural ability. The first time I tried anything formal with football was about age 12. Everything else was just natural ability. I was in high school. And when you ask, what position do you play? I don't even know what position do I play. You know what I play? I play forward because I was very, very skillful growing up. So I could get past 3, 4, 5 players easily. So I was a forward because I dribble past players and I score goals. I was a forward. It was a friend of mine who said to me at the time, which position do you play? No. Which foot is your stronger foot? And I said, my right foot. He said, okay, play right midfield. And that is how I became a midfielder. Because he told me to play. So I'm saying that if he said, okay, go play right wing back, I would have been a wing back throughout my career. But at that time, he told me to play right midfield. And I went to right midfield. And everywhere else after that, I play right midfield. I play right link. Right link. So I'm saying.
Let me ask you this. I'm sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm saying, if we have these coaches in this school, develop them there, start developing the players there, then we can get some of these players into like the parish programs. Because I remember our coach, Mr. Robbie. Almost every Saturday morning, he have a group of players that represents the parish down in Maypen, practicing and training. So I'm saying that if we could get these coaches in the schools, and I mean high-level coaches, because I think that the best coaches, you need to have them at the lower level so they can properly develop these kids. And then they move on to the different competitions at various levels, going up from the under 12s, the under 14s, the under 15s. When you are being coached properly, I think that could do wonders for Jamaica. Maybe it will not take us to the level where the United States is, where the Mexico is, but guess what? I think we will move up a few notches from where we are now.
Yeah, you're right. So how can that be done?
You see, I'm thinking that these persons at the university, like those persons will sit together and write these curriculums, right? Because, for example, the training program is just a pity we don't have Mr. Reynolds here. The training program, the coaching programs, right, that you would find an elementary teacher or a primary teacher would go to train, to get their license back home, to get whatever level 1, level 2, whatever license they need back home, right? That would have been done in the university. So you leave the university with that. All right. So coaches like Mr. Reynolds now, those who actually, and you mentioned, what's his name you mentioned to me, man?
Teagat?
No, not Teagat, man. Man. He goes around and train coaches in Jamaica.
Oh, okay. Vin Blaine.
Vin Blaine.
Yeah.
Exactly. So the likes of Vin Blaine now, who are doing these programs at UTech, all right? So what they would do, employ a Vin Blaine, right? And employ a Vin Blaine at this level. And you get these students in the sports program at that level to be coached, get them the license, give them the training that they need so they can get the license. And remember, they are right there in the universities. So they don't need to be coming from one part of the island there, another part of the island there, another part of the island there. It is timetabled.
In the curriculum.
It is in the curriculum. Timetabled. Okay. And you get them, so okay, Monday at this time you have Vin Blaine for that particular lesson.
So does that mean that you're gonna have a specific instructor for the football, you go have one for cricket,
Yes,
you go have one
definitely,
for okay.
definitely. No plating, definitely.
So right. So that means that who is gonna cover the cost of that? The university or who?
No,
Because you have to pay these people.
No, but listen, the university, but the credits, you'd have to pay for it as a student.
Right, I understand that. Yeah, good, right, good. So now let me ask you this now. So in terms of implementing that into this, the now you're talking about the elementary school curriculum, right?
Uh-huh.
How would that be integrated into that school's curriculum, given the required amount of hours is on the books, for that student's school day? Because I believe there is a certain amount of hours that is attached to that school day. And how would you incorporate that into that?
The PE is probably a double session for the week. That is generally for PE in Jamaica. A double session for the week. No, but I'm not looking at the lesson per se. I'm not looking at the lesson per se in the classroom. What I'm looking at is the after school program.
Okay.
After school program.
And who is going to pay for that? Who is going to finance that?
No, that's what I'm saying.
To pay these teachers.
Generally, they don't pay them.
So it's a voluntary thing.
Yes, because I did it for like 10 years. Probably about 10 years. No, probably more years, right? Where I train these students after school, right? But when I needed to get that coaching certi, I had to go elsewhere during my time at work to get that certi. But if that is done at the university level, there's no need to do that, to go elsewhere, because you have it. And then no, when you are coaching these kids after school, that is the norm, so to speak. When you're coaching these kids after school, you already have the know-how, because you're a certified coach, you're a licensed coach. So when you're imparting the knowledge that you need to, when you're sharing the knowledge that you need to, it is coming now from a professional. It is coming now from a professional. It's not just a guy who decided, you know what, I want to coach some football, so I just come over and I coach some football. No, what you're looking at, you're always looking at the bigger picture, because that is the mentality that is in your head when you're leaving university. So now you're a professional. All right. So now I'm a professional, I'm a teacher. So when I'm teaching a young man at age 5, at age 6, I'm thinking about that young man 20 years from now as a valid, valuable citizen in the country. So when you're coaching at that level, in your mind, given that level of professionalism that you have, you are now thinking about that young man, that young girl playing at a particular level. So when you're doing it with that in mind.
Right. So that can be also applicable to other subjects. Yes. Right? Which is really an excellent idea. Now, let's look at the after school component that you mentioned, right?
Yes, no problem.
And I know that you and I are speaking about, obviously, our passion.
Definitely.
We play the game, we love it. So we want to give back, right? Definitely. Just so you know, most of the coaching that I've done, especially with youth, it's all pro bono, for free. Whether it's individual training or coaching, because that's the passion that I have. Right? You and I have that. So is that realistic, for people lacking that passion, not having that passion, especially after school? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People finish their job, whether it's a teaching job at school, then, they want to flash somewhere else, especially if they're not getting paid. Now, here's why I say that. I am a KC alumni, okay? Alum. And I guess we can segue into the high school football, so because this has a lot to do with it, right? I generate some revenue and some finances to support some after school activity on the campus, not specific to football, right? And I've sat with the principal and stuff, and there's not too much volunteering, right? And also the other issue is that even with the resources that is provided, not just from me, but from the other alums all over the place, it limits the amount of participants because they have to pay these individuals to operate the thing, right? Now, like I said, I want to segue into the high school football there. A lot of the support, a lot of the revenue which gives these schools the ability to perform on those levels and to enhance the development comes from alumni. We pour foreign money into hiring the coach, the good coaches, you know what I'm saying? Uniforms, all that stuff. That's why you see most of the schools that are always involved in the top echelon and the Manning Cup thing from Kingston and even in the rural areas.
Yeah.
There are teams that they get a lot of funds from overseas alumni. You understand? So what I'm saying is that's why schoolboy football is such a big thing in Jamaica.
I understand.
You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is that the support, the revenue is a big part of what drives the success and the development.
True, but can you imagine? Yeah. Can you imagine? No, can you imagine? We are now using that program and we are now producing better quality players. All right? Better quality players. So let's say better quality players, chances are we're going to have a bit more professionals, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they too can give back. If you see what I'm saying. They too, because our driving force, the school's driving force, and we know that to have a vibrant sports program past students.
Yeah, you know what they call them here? Boosters. And I have to develop my own definition for that term, because you're boosted. When you boost something, you boost the car, it starts. You know what I'm saying? You get your battery dead, you give it a boost, boom, it goes. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing. And remember, no, that's a voluntary thing. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of KC, what them call them, old boys, old boys, right? Even here in the States, when we support the Old Boys Association, the Alumni Association, not every student does that. Some people I agree with that. You know what I mean? So there has to be a willingness. Just like when I used to walk around here coaching for free, I used to get kids who can't afford to pay. And coach, I go in a club and they say, "Oh, you're setting a bad precedence. You set a bad precedence because you're telling some parents that don't pay, but then, so what do we tell the coaches that are doing this for a living? Because some coaches, they coach, that's their living. Yeah. Now, I was able to do that because I'm like, I don't do this for a living because I have a real job. Because see, the coaching aspect is like, it's a part-time thing. When I say part-time, there's no 9 to 5 coaching, especially when you get on the professional level. You know what I'm saying? So you get paid according to the hours that you work. And as far as the club situation is concerned, there's no 9 to 5. You know what I'm saying? They'll give you a set amount based on the contract that you're signing, but it's not a 9 to 5 where, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't, but some coaches, they coach multiple teams and they do all kinds of stuff to kind of boost that income. But see, I had a real job, and I say a real job, meaning a 9 to 5, where I could afford to say, well, hey, I can come after my job and I can coach, you know what I'm saying, for free. You don't have to pay. But then the guys who were in the club and they're using that to generate their income, I was setting a bad precedent for the club. So they said, no, you can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of, it's a catch-22 situation. You know what I'm saying? But the bottom line is that it takes finances, money to make the world go around. So that's but as far as high school football, if you go to a Manning Cup game, the stadium is full.
Yeah.
A lot of the attendees are from foreign countries. They come in and the boost, because we still have that rivalry. You know what I'm saying?
Always.
Purple power, and you know what I'm saying? You see old bearded man like me coming up there. You're not gonna see that in a Division One or a Major League game. No, because the facilities are not as. Where do these Division One games play? They all over. Who's gonna be running behind that? There's no parade. And then depending on the area, when I read up these things, there's a lot of violence in some of these places. People are fighting, and so it's not a family-oriented environment. So the youth football is more. You have youngsters go to school, their parents want to come see them, they want to impress their parents, you know what I'm saying? Relatives come, you know what I'm saying? So that's the difference. So to compare, I mean, I look in the stadium, man. I see Jamaica playing friendly game, and I look in the stadium, and it's like 35 people. You know what I'm saying? I mean, So how do these teams generate income? You know what I'm saying? You have to have paying fans. You have to have paying fans. So you go to some of these when you go to stadium, you got to pay to go in. Now some people are getting for free. But you go to some of these venues, these Division One venues, gate man, and you know what I'm saying, they come in. How many people really pay? There's all this,
No, but not only paying. Listen, the fields are just open places.
Terrible, exactly.
All right.
Yeah. Where do I go to sit? Where do I go to sit if I come to one of these gates? Where do I sit? You know what I'm saying?
You stand and you watch, man. Sit where?
That's what I'm saying. So this is why the schoolboy competition, man, is
it is. All right. When you go to when you think of the Premier League, there you have those mini stadiums, right?
Yeah.
And not too long ago, the stadiums, they try their best to get the stadium sorted, and when you go there, you will find places to sit. You'll find places to sit. There are places to sit a lot. To sit at these stadiums now at the Premier League level. But when you're talking about Division One is basically where you find the best area, the best playing field to play. So it's sometimes open space. But you see, it's as you said, catch-22, give and you take. It's a situation like that back home. It is. And that is where I want us to move from. I want us to move from. And sometimes I think it's about the mentality. We are not thinking, all right? We are not thinking at age 5, age 4, that when we grow up, we are going to be professionals. Ask the question, what is it you want to be when you grow up? You're doctors, you're lawyers, you're teachers, nurses, you name it, all right? Those are the professions that you want to be a part of when you get older. No. If we are looking at being involved in sports on a professional level, if that is in our head when we are growing up, if we have that mentality, I can almost assure you that more investment would have been made in these resources back home, in these facilities back home, in playing areas, you name it. More effort would have been made to get areas sorted. Because what we would have been doing is looking at this from a professional perspective. So at age 5, we're thinking about 25, that young man becoming a member of, what you call it, Ajax, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Juventus. But we're not thinking like that.
So when you say that, when we start thinking, right, about these aspirations.
Yes.
When who is we, when that we.
That we is developing a national culture.
Okay.
When we talk about we.
So when the system then, the powers to be.
Yes.
I call it the powers to be, which means the institutions.
Yes.
So when the institution, which includes Board of Ed, that is the central main institution that drives the education system, that drives the wisdom or the encouragement in the direction of careers, right? So we're talking about those systems
too. And think about the political system.
Right, exactly, right. So you're saying until that's why I said the powers to be, right?
Yeah.
Specifically the Board of Ed, right?
Education, yeah.
Correct. So until they, and I say they because we're thinking that. You and I are thinking that, right? So we are already thinking that. So we're dealing with the third person now, they. When they, because they're the ones that formulate policies and legislation and all them things, right? When you talk about the political aspect of it, they're the ones that they dictate to the Board of It. This is how the school curriculum should operate, and then the Board of Ed, carries out those mandates, right? So the powers to be now, right? Until they start doing that, recognizing that that's also another area and avenue of professionalism that can generate income for those individuals who has the ability to excel in those areas of professionalism. Then yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. So now you would install and implement those programs, not just only in the school, but you also support and encourage the private sector to run, just like you said, after school programs, not necessarily in the school, but on a community level where it could be more accessible to those youngsters who may not be in a position to participate on campus in those after school stuff. You see what I'm saying? So I don't know how.
There you go. You're expanding it for me now. See?
Yes.
Expanding it for me now.
So here is something that, and I don't know how feasible this is in Jamaica, right? But there's a lot of money in Jamaica. There's a lot of money in Jamaica.
There is.
But my understanding and belief as well is that the majority of it is in the hands and the pockets of a small percentage.
Yeah, it is centralized somewhere. Yes.
Now, I don't know how willing is that small percentage. I don't know how willing they are to invest in these communities where you're going to find those talents, right? Because the talent may be wider spread than in that individual school community.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure that everybody from the same community goes to that same school.
No, that's not never the case.
So this is what I'm saying. If you bring that product in the community, then you're gonna widen your base. You're gonna widen that pool. You see what I'm saying? So now I don't know about the distribution of wealth or how it works, right? I don't know. However, let's say that this is my suggestion, right? And what I've done, right? Not just from a football perspective, but what we have here in the United States, right? We can write RFPs, requests for proposals, right? And we could disseminate that to the multinational corporations, right? And then they would fund some of these community activities, and it would allow them, the funding that they put in there, they could get tax incentive and they could file it against their income. I don't know if that's a system that works in Jamaica.
We do something like that, because you'll find some of these institutions, companies, you name it, they will actually, or you do this now, they will actually sponsor things doing charity and stuff, and as a result, they're exempt from certain taxes. So it is done in Jamaica also.
But let me ask you this: when you say that, I mean, so who is exempt from the taxation? The people, the donators, the sponsors, or the people who operate the non-for-profit program?
The sponsors.
That's how it works in Jamaica?
Yeah. The sponsors. I think, because I know of a few factories in and around my area, right? And when they do these sponsorship things, the charity things, whatever you want to call it, man, whenever they do it, they're exempt from certain taxes.
So how does that system work? When you have when you say a sponsor,
I cannot give you the finer details like that as it relates to exactly how it operates, but I do know that when they sponsor things, for example, let's say at a school you want to, let's say you have some sort of competition, you have a sports day, and you write to, for example, some of these places asking them for sponsorship with certain things. And yes, let's say they put aside certain amount of cash that they do sponsor this competition, that competition, and as a result, the government would actually exempt them from.
Right. Yes. Now, see, that's, I don't know if that's similar or the same to what I'm talking about, right?
I don't know, honestly. That's
okay, all right. So let me give you a little expansion of what I mentioned, right? Yeah. So when you write this RFP, it's specific to an after-school program, whether it's a soccer program, what have you, outside of school, in a community, the community-based program, right? So what they do here is they look at the proposal, because you have to, it's not just, to a competition. It's you know what I'm saying? So they look at it, which you would have the whole mechanism, funding, how much it's going to cost, and how long the duration, right? And then they will say, okay, we will give you a 3-year sponsorship. So it's not just for a little one event. You know what I'm saying? So now you have 3 years now, but they'll monitor you to see if you're in compliance with the proposal that you wrote.
Forward, okay.
You see what I'm saying? So now you'll have that 3 years now to do your thing. And then you get reevaluated and you can get more sponsorship from that place. Or you could also solicit, another, you could give that proposal to different organizations. You know what I'm saying? But it's set up for that here because, like you said, it's a tax deductible thing. You're not losing any money. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if that worked. That is how, because see, now your program has to be non-for-profit. You can pay salaries and stuff, but it's not you can't make a profit off of it. You see what I'm saying?
No. Back home, the profit, it doesn't matter. because for example, at school, the intention of some of these programs is to actually generate some profit that could be used for different activities at school. So
Yeah, that's different. Yeah, that's a different level, you know. So I'm just like I said, I'm giving you
how it is done.
examples, formulas, models, you know what I'm saying, of that creates the success of the development that you're trying to, because like I say, man, realistically speaking, I will tell you, if you look at the schools that are dominating in the sports category in Jamaica on a schoolboy level, it's the schools that get most support from the alumni.
True.
Even when it comes to who has the best, who has the best principal, headmaster, right? A lot of these schools, man, I can speak specific to KC and Georges and all them places. We supplement the salaries of the principal. Did you know that?
Yeah, I know that happened in those schools.
But not every school.
Huh?
You know what I'm saying? It's not every school.
No.
You know what I'm saying? And this is why we are able to keep our principal, Mr. Myrie, who is rated as one of the best principal in Jamaica, because we pay him so that he doesn't go to another school, supplement his salary. You know what I'm saying? So that happens in a lot of schools over the place, but you have to have a strong alumni.
True.
You know what I'm saying? That's generating the overseas money to come in to supplement that. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that, that's another revenue generator. You know what I mean? So, and here's the thing. Here's the problem now. I don't know of too many elementary school alumni association. You know what I'm saying? So the alumni association usually starts from the high school because that's where the rivalry is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's it. That's definitely it. And it is down to the rivalry, because guess what? A KC would not want a JC or one of those.
Exactly. And how do we prevent that from happening?
Finance.
You know what I'm saying? We said, look, you see that we have a stadium. I want the Melbourne, that track stadium. That running track stadium in Melbourne, our first and second farm campus, right? $400,000 was spent to build that track, right? It's one of those highfalutin, tracks, man, right? There's an alumni that we had. He won the hurdles at some Olympics, right? And here's the thing that drives a lot of the support, the track and field stuff in Jamaica, big, right? This guy won the Olympic hurdles. He signed a contract with, I think it was Puma. Forgot what the guy's name was. Puma. So Puma, he had Puma, right, as a sponsor, donate $300,000 towards the track, right? And then the school had a time frame to generate the additional $100,000. Had we not generated the $100,000, the deal would have been out. That track is built. You see what I'm saying? How do you think the $100,000 extra was generated? The alumni, and most of it from out of Jamaica. We did all kinds of fundraising stuff. We donated all kinds of money. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So, this is why I can tell you, KC has one of the best training facilities. So when they always go to champs, they're going to be competing because the track is there. The track is similar to the one in the stadium. I mean, you know what I'm saying? We send down stuff, they have equipment, rights, because we have alumni that are having the shoe company that they sign with sponsoring money into the school. So it's not coming out of their pockets specifically. You know what I mean? So those are some other. Unfortunately, we don't have you see, the footballers are coming out of the clubs and not the schools. So their allegiance is
to the clubs,
to the club, and not the school. Can you imagine if your school had a player that one of these professional clubs signed? They would have to pay the school a transfer fee. So you would have that money now to expand on your program. You know what I mean? That's how Harborview developed their program, because the money that they got from Bibby, they upgraded their facility. Now everybody wants to go to Harborview. You know what I'm saying, guys?
you realize, right on. Look at the. You see, right on my list just now. One of it says Harborview best business model. Right there, it's written there.
And why is the best business model?
That's it. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And Mount Pleasant now, the T-Got Davis that you mentioned.
Yes. They have a rich guy, a millionaire guy run them program.
Yeah. So you
millionaire guy run the program. So he have the money to pay the coach, and you know.
I think I was told that he had something to do with Chelsea or something like that.
You know what he did? That same guy built an academy down there. And you know who it was for? For all the community kids. Because here's what he's doing. He has the academy and he's developing this. You see the same thing that you're saying? That's what he's doing. So when he developed these kids from out of the community, he sells them and he gets the money. That's what is happening over there, man. Yes, but he has the money, the resource to build a facility. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Yes. Harborview, that place was a rock city. That's where I'm from. I used to go up there to pick out rocks as a little kid. It was dirt. And when they got that 1.1 million pound from Bolton for maybe, that's when they grass it up, lights it up. Now people are renting that facility. So that's how they generated funds. Anytime you see they have events there, it's a rental stuff. So it's a revenue generator. So if you don't have something that's generating revenue, you know, when you go to Harborview to an event, you got to pay to get in. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I've ran after school programs, and the thing is, it was for the unfortunate youngsters. They couldn't pay to come. You know what I'm saying? And where are you going to find it? Where do you think the best talents are? In the unfortunate areas. Best athletes, man.
Always.
If you look at any sport all over the world, the better athletes, man, what we call talented, they're from the underprivileged areas.
Yeah, Rivaldo, one of the greatest players of all time. He was so poor that his teeth fell out.
Yes, Neymar, all of them.
That's
you know what I'm saying? All of them. Yeah. LeBron James, all of them. But if you don't have somebody to go and see, a part of developing the talent is to go and support the talent from an early age. You know what I'm saying? So if we don't have that kind of support, then we still have the anchor on our ankles. You know what I'm saying? Hold it, dragging us down.
Man.
So that's what that guy did in St. Anne's. You see the color of his skin, right?
I don't know him. I have no idea who he is.
Listen, he's that kind of a guy. You know. So because see, now T-Got can go there and get paid well. When the players go there, man, they're getting paid well. You know what I'm saying? So it comes right back to that, you know, that thing, man. So when I did after school programs for youngsters, the school couldn't afford it. The school can't do no extended day program. Even the elementary school that my kids went to here in rich America, we had to pay for after school activities or before school activities. The parents who were not able to bring their kids to school and pick them up, you got to pay to bring them there early and pay to pick them up late in this great American place. There's no free after school stuff. And guess what? Everybody that works in that program, they are getting paid. So to generate the funds to pay for those help, parents paid for it. You know what I'm saying? So you know, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that we can do things this way, that way. But the reality is, you know, you have to have the funds coming from somewhere because everything takes money to run, you know. So, but that's kind of like the basis for the development. Then once you get that part situated, then we can start talking about X's and O's and system and
but speaking, we need to have another conversation about X's and O's.
Yes, oh yeah, absolutely. No, we're gonna have that. And I'm gonna send you some stuff about that so you can have it to reference.
Yes, man, we need to have a conversation about X's.
Yes, anytime. We can talk about that too.
Definitely, man.
Yeah, man. Anything about X and O's. But I just wanna make sure that we understand. You know, that's what I'm saying. We can talk about developing talent as far as X and O is concerned, right? But as far as developing developing the talent based on the support of that talent, this topic that we addressed, that's that part of it. You know what I'm saying? So the X's and O's now is something else. And again, you know, I like to speak from this perspective of having something that is credible, not just off of the top of my head or what I think. You know what I'm saying? So and I guess I can preface that by saying that it's in the 4 areas of the game: the technical, the tactical, psychological, and the physical, because that is the areas that I believe, you know, that's like the curriculum that we can discuss. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So it's just like if you're dealing with biology, right? There is a practical part of it, and then there's a theoretical part of it, right? So you do the theoretical part, and then you go to the lab and you do the experiments to show the theory. You know what I'm saying, as it relates to the practical. So it's the same thing with the game, you know. So if we're gonna sit down and talk about the game, because it's just like another topic in school. It's just like biology. It's just like chemistry. It's just like mathematics. You know what I'm saying? So it is from that perspective that I like to engage in, and just not from, you know. So I will send you the documentation that I have. You can look at it, and then you can see the different aspects from each particular area. So you can, you know, we can be on the same, you know, you can have what I have in front of you, so you can have an idea of what I'm referencing, you know, and then you can ask me questions regarding each of those little bullet points that you need explanation for, and then you can see how it fits into, you know, the perspective that you're coming from and that I'm speaking from.
Definitely.
So that's not a problem, you know. So, but I just wanted to give you a perspective, and I hope I did, regarding the success of high school ball, as opposed to, you know, what preceded and subsequent to it, when those players leave from high school to go to the Division I or Premier. That support is no longer there. They don't have it. And then some of these players now are so busy trying to make a living, because now you're an adult. Now you have to be more independent. You know what I'm saying? So that's when you start looking to see, well, where do I go and what do I do? You know, because listen, I come back to Jamaica, man, and I go down to these hotels from St. Anne's to Negril. And I see a lot of talented, not just talented in soccer in a particular sports, but occupationally talented, educationally talented. And because the opportunity does not exist for them to go and exercise that talent in an area that they're going to be compensated at, a lot of them are resorting to, oh, they're a hotel security in Jamaica. I see guys there, and you go and you see a lot of pent up anger, because I talk to them. You know what I'm saying? And it's not a good place to be. You know what I'm saying? So this thing is common in Jamaica. It's widespread. So
It is.
so it's like you said, it's more a societal issue. You know what I mean? And I don't know if that's a realistic recognition by the powers to be and the people who are pushing for these expectations. Because in a lot of cases, the expectation is not realistic. You
Sure.
know, and sometimes when you speak to the reality of the expectation, people say, "Oh, but you'll be negative," and you know what I'm saying. But you can't see me, and as a social worker, right? We have a thing that we call name, be behaviorally specific. We have to be honest. So there's no way I can sit down with the youth and give him any kind of false hope or any false information as to what his future looks like. You know what I'm saying? So I can't do that, even in terms of my own children, right? When they got to the age where they need to go to college, I said, you pick what college you want to go to, and you pick what career. You pick the career that you want to pursue. I'm not going to tell you what you need to go be. No, you determine that. Because see, I was being physically forced into a career that's not what I wanted. But I was at the stage where I had to act and fake. I had to fake the funk because I was not in the age where I could decide and say, no, I don't want that. So my behavior dictated my rebelliousness towards that. Okay, so when I went to school, I went to college my first 2 years because I was being pushed to be an engineer from Jamaica. You know what I'm saying? All kinds of physical things and school home, but I didn't want that. But I wanted to appease whoever was pushing me in that direction. And then my first 2 years of college, I said, no, I can shit now, and I move into another direction. You know what I'm saying? I have a son that went to University of Florida, biggest university, one of the biggest universities in America. He went to study computer engineering, okay, software engineering. And then my other son is a hardware engineer. He says, my son was with GM. He was a recruiter. He wanted to get that son in there. My son said, Dad, I don't want to go there. I don't want to go to corporate. You know what he's teaching? You know what I'm saying? He's teaching. That's his passion. He's teaching science and math and all that stuff in a gifted school. You know what I'm saying? And he's comfortable, man. You know what I'm saying?
That's what makes you happy, man.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So a lot of time, if you don't get that opportunity, the opportunity that you're talking about, that you and I want to see, that opportunity does not exist, then trust me, the development is the opportunity, that youngster having the opportunity to develop is the biggest part of the development of that youngster.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of like it in a nutshell. Now we can talk about play development and success development in the game. That's something else that we can talk about all day. I can talk about that all day, including Sundays. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why I say that is because it is something that I do. And I will tell you this. Starting from my playing days, I've never gone out for a team, whether it's, I played 1 year of high school ball here, right? And it was a disaster. I didn't complete. I did 1 year of high school here, my senior year, right? It was a disaster because it ended up where I got kicked off the team while I was injured. I wasn't even playing. Okay? I wasn't playing. And then I got kicked off. I went and I joined the fencing team. I never spent 1 day of fencing. And my buddy said, hey, come, I'm on the fencing team. He said, it's easy, you could, and I went there and I succeeded. I made the team and boom, right? But here's the thing. Here's why the high school thing was a disaster. The coach didn't know anything about the game. Didn't know anything. Because I went there and I'm like, and we had a little riot one day and they claimed that I initiated a riot, which I didn't. I was just trying to protect my teammates, you know what I'm saying? And disaster happened and I got abandoned off the team. And I was a bench player, you know what I'm saying? And kind of ironically, the bench is what I believe saved my life. You know what I'm saying? When I say saved my life, I had to eject the coach and the rest of the teammates that were on the bench to defend myself with the bench, because it's one of them benches that has multiple seats on it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because I was getting chased by the other team that we were playing against, and my teammates, including the one that I went on the pitch, and I did something. I ran on the pitch to defend one of my teammates. And I didn't get no support from nobody. So I had to use that bench, man. And that's when I kind of fended off the mob and until the police came and kind of quell everything, you know. But then now, I didn't play, you know, when I went to college, I made a team, you know, based on my ability. And I was loudmouth and right? And it was so ironic that the guy that was the last coach I played on at the college, right? His name was Len Reitman, a white guy from Russia. Fit guy, had a leg. He used to kick the field goal for the American football team. So, you know, he had that punt and he would run all day. But he didn't have any skill, you know, and we used to, you know, he just wanted to kick, you know, and we used to like, yo, hey, you need to pass the ball, and you know what I'm saying? So he graduated before us because he was an older guy than us. And so he started coaching the team. They passed him on. And he appointed me to coach, right? Which I thought was an honor. But after I graduated, he was still coaching the team. And I kept a relationship with him. And then the first team that I coached, right, in New York City was in 1980, 81, 82, right? There was a bunch of younger players than myself. I was like maybe 26, right? And I had a group of guys, you know, they were a little bit younger than me. And I was the player coach. That was when subsequent to that, when I left Brooklyn College, I went to live in the Virgin Islands, St. Thomas. And just, you know, my girlfriend there, I said, where they playing the ball at? And I went down to the college at CVI, College of Virgin Islands. And apparently, she said, that's where they play. She don't know anything about football, right? You know, so, but the thing is, her doctor, matter of fact, he's the guy that used to coach Seba in Montego Bay. He was the coach of the national team. I didn't know this guy. First time I went there to play, Dr. Winston Alexis, right? And I just went because I love the game. I'm living there. You know, I just graduated from school and I'm chilling beach and all that stuff. Nice place, you know. I said, where the ball is played at? So she took me there the first. I got a ride there, and she was supposed to pick me up, right? So I played. I just went there. I played, did my thing, and I'm waiting for her to pick me up now. And the coach came and said, "Dreddy," he said, "Dreddy, he said, you want to come join the team?" And I'm looking at him. I said, and before I answered, he said, "That's the national team." When I heard that, my ears pricked up because I didn't go there for that. You know what I'm saying? And I said, yeah, why not? So that's how I got on that team, right? Okay. So now I was playing college ball and club ball before I graduated. So, I think so. 1978. So he started telling me his wife is Jamaican. He said, yeah, I did my work in Jamaica. I used to live in Montego Bay. And so we started talking about football now because, I'm the only Jamaican guy on the team. He's from Trinidad, right? Good coach. One of the best that I've had. You see, it's good when you get a different array of coaches because it kind of gives you different perspective of the game, and that was one of the what do you call it now? I was fortunate to not only get insights from different coaches, but also playing with different players from different parts of the world. Because in college, man, I'm playing with guys from Germany, Trinidad, Australia, Egypt, you know what I'm saying? Russia, you know what I'm saying? So you're getting a different perspective. So I put that in my toolbox as well. You know what I'm saying? That's what I did. And different coaches, white coach, this coach, that coach, you know what I'm saying? So that kind of enhanced my performance, right? So when we came to Jamaica, he started to about SEBA. I didn't know anything about SEBA because I didn't know anything outside of the corporate area, town, Kingston. We call it, we from Kingston, we call it town. We don't call it Kingston. Town. Where you come from? Town.
Our country.
Right? Town, our country. When I hear somebody here tell me, I'm from Kingston, I'm like, you sure? Because we from Kingston, we don't call it Kingston. And usually somebody from the rural area, town, country. But let me tell you something. I love country. When I come back to Jamaica, don't tell me about town. You know what I'm saying? I don't. So I was not, and it was not until I came to the US that I started to do my town, my country runnings. You know what I'm saying? When I was living in Jamaica, I hated it. I had relatives in Manchester. I didn't want to go there. You know what I'm saying? But I started to appreciate those areas when I came here. So when he started telling me about SEBA and Montego, I'm like, oh, Montego Bay, So we came there for two scrimmage games in 1978. First one was at SEBA, right? And yeah, we won comfortable, nice. Then we went up. We were staying up at Iron Shore. That's where we were housed at, right? In them villa up there. Place where Ralph Lauren has 2 homes. Ralph Lauren has some homes up there, right?
Yeah, I know up there.
Then we came to St. Anne's Bay to play a team back then by the name of Brazil of St. Anne's.
Oh, Brazil, yeah.
They had a player called Milo at that time playing for Jamaica, midfielder, right? I didn't know who this guy was. I don't know. I don't care, right? And we were playing in that little stadium there, man. I forgot the name of nice little stadium. Nice. I don't know how they packed so many people in that place, man. They have a pavilion there, man. I'm like, that place is gonna tear down. The people are jumping up there, rocking, and I'm like, what is so many people doing in there? And then right? So we lost that game to them, 5-3, but the score didn't determine our performance. We were rotten poor in the first half, right? They scored 3 goals. Milo, hat trick. Boom, 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 boom. How do I know his name was Milo? The referee. Because see, when I go play, man, I kind of develop a relationship with the ref based on how I play. So I want to get the ref on my side. So after Milo scored the second game, I was in close proximity to the ref. But you know, he's booking the goal. He says, number 10, his name is Milo. He plays on the national team. He's always left open. It's okay. So we were down 3-0, 3-0 at halftime. I went in the locker room, I tell my coach, I'm the sweeper. And man, I was on roller skates. Okay? When I say roller skates, man, by the time them guys come in, Milo, man, he was, serious playmaker. So by the time he gets into my defensive third, it's like a 4-on-2. 4-on-2, because my wing back is out of place over there. My holding midfielder, you know what I'm saying? So I'm on roller skating. Who do I mark now? You know what I'm saying? So they had us boom, 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 right? So halftime, I tell the coach, I said, look, coach, I'm pissed. Man, I'm yelling, I'm screaming, you know what I'm saying? That's how I am, because as a sweeper, man, I got to organize stuff, The only person I tell my goalkeeper, how do I look? You know what I'm saying? Because he got to give me some guidance, right? So I went in the halftime, I said, coach, I said, move me up into the hole in midfield. Okay? I said, look, we can't, by the time the pressure comes in our defensive third, the damage is already done. We got to go try to take control of that midfield. Because in the game, right? The team that controls midfield is more likely to win the game.
Generally, yes.
Right? That's my philosophy. That's what I experienced. So that was the day that I became a holding midfielder, because it's just like playing sweeper, but it's like you're further up the pitch. Okay? So what I did second half, and I had to be like noisy and vexed and brutal. And the coach, okay, Dreddy, we're gonna let you do that, right? But I went in there, man. The first thing I did wasn't making a tackle. Didn't make a tackle. My first play I did on the guy that scored the 3 goals in the first half. First play I did, because I'm like, hey, you're not getting that space.
I'm here now, man. I'm here.
Okay? Because I give you more space, that's when you could damage me. So I'm gonna close mark you. First ball came in, I made no attempt to challenge or win the ball. I got into his body and I gave him an elbow. Bang! Now, the ref didn't see, because I know how to, you know what I'm saying? Why do you think they came with VAR?
Too many people getting away with stuff.
Exactly. I was one of those people, you know what I'm saying? So, you see, once I did that, then I know I won the battle. Because guess what? He didn't have any time to control any ball again to create that space. Because when the ball is coming to him, you know what he's doing first?
He's looking at you.
Trying to locate me. And that's when you can't find me, because I'm studying your body. Because if you look at me, you remember you do a trick? You touch the person on this ear and you come on this side, and by the time they look there, you're not over there. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing though. So I had him where I wanted him, because he's the receiver, I'm the defender. Right? So you gotta look to see what you are receiving. Okay? I don't care what you receive. I gotta defend what you're receiving. So I have to develop a system where I can be at my advantage. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna send you where I want you to go. I'm sending you to your weak spot, and I'm putting you on my strong spot. So that's the battle I won. And then I was winning balls, man, with not even tackling. So I'm stopping the pressure in the middle of the pitch, okay? And then once I get the ball, we're counter and attack you with no dribble. control pass, because that ball's going to get to the spot quicker than anybody could get there, especially with the ball, right? And man, within like 10 minutes of the second half, we scored 3 goals, we equalized, and it was a battle until the last. We ran out of juice, because you know, when you travel, man, that's why the home team always have the advantage, because you travel, we're hanging out, we're staying up late, we're partying, you know what I'm saying? So you come into that Sunday afternoon. That's why they call it Sunday, because even with the sun is hotter on Sunday than any other day, man. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, scored 2 goals in the last 10 minutes. And I tell you, man, the crowd they were jive talking us from the bus was turning in the stadium. Come take on the bus us. And my guys were like, I'm like, yo, dude, you know what I'm saying? So they were cheering us now when we 2 first goal, hey, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it was that kind of thing. But again, it was just friendly games. So, you know, score didn't matter. But sometimes you hear 5-3, you think that one team. No. So that's how we did, right? Now, when we went back to the VI, we started a league. Now, the team that I was playing on, they gave it the name Brazil, because they were so impressed with
the Jamaica.
Brazil of St. Anne's, right? So that's a team Brazil. And then I was designated the player coach. So when I started my coaching cycle, right? And that was 78. When I started my coaching cycle, I'm always a player coach. A player coach. Okay? So when I left the UIVI and I went back to the Bronx, I started this little Youth United. That's what the name of it was, Youth United. Younger youth. I was the oldest guy there. Back now into my sweeper spot. You know what I'm saying? And there's a reason why I did that, because you can give more direction from there than, say, a midfielder or a forward. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I did. And I tell you, man, we had huge success. And it's just basic, simple football based on the concept and the theory from those 4 areas. You see what I'm saying? And that's the philosophy that I used, which I learned from one of the best coaches in Jamaica, right? We call him Bunny Byfield. I don't know what I know his last name is Byfield. I don't know if Bunny is a real first name, but he was a part of the Jamaican thing. He was a part of the 1969 Santos coaching staff as an assistant under Chung Fa, which is considered the best coach in Jamaica history. You can go, look him up, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I've been with some of those, fortunate for me. So I've used some of their philosophy in cooperating with my playing experience, and also the research that I've done on my own to find out more knowledge of the game. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I did. And then once I started coaching youth soccer now, I got into that because I had little youngsters, and because of my passion for the game, I had more knowledge of that as opposed to any other youth sports. So what I did now, I just did that as an extracurriculum for them, not to develop them to be professional players. You know what I'm saying? But they became good at it, but that's not what they wanted as a profession. You know what I'm saying? So from the youth, my next job was I coached a women's club team at the University of Central Florida. Now, the club team is a step down from the college team, because some of those students, they're more professionally oriented, like they're looking to be doctors and that kind of stuff. So they don't have the time. Their curriculum is kind of heavy, so they don't have the 5-day a week time to go. And because when you doing college sports, it's 5 days a week training, man. 5 days a week. And then you play it on the weekends. You know what I'm saying? So it's heavy. So outside of that, they're doing club, not intramurals, because intramural is you go and you, right? Club is on a higher level because the club team, you go into other colleges to play other college club teams. You know what I'm saying? And then they got tournaments where clubs from all over the United States, from different colleges, come to this place, and you know what I'm saying? So I started coaching that. Here is how I got that opportunity, right? We have a soccer pitch across where I live at, right? And it's close to the college. We used to go there and play pickup games, and you had the college kids used to come over there and play with us, right? So it's co-ed. We pick up girls and guys. So this one particular young white lady, majority of Muslim are white anyway, right? So I'm walking my computer because my battery's getting low. So anyway, you can still hear me?
Yes, man, I'm hearing you.
Yeah. So we were at the place playing one evening, right? And she was playing right fullback, right? Which is right wing back. And again, I'm playing the sweeper. Let me plug this puppy in. Yeah. All right. We're playing, so I'm playing the sweeper, and as usual, man, I go on the pitch, man. I'm organized in the back. Hey, don't go, drop, go to your right, go to your left. I'm just, but go now. I got you covered. You know what I'm saying? So we got done. So I'm talking with the guys now, and she's just a stranger. So I saw her over there waiting, and she's looking, and I'm looking at her. I'm like, I said, you need to speak to one of us. She said, yeah, I need to speak to you. So I said, yeah, all right. So I stepped over to her, and she says, I'm listening to you on the pitch, and you sound like you know what you're saying, you're doing. She said, I play on the women's club team over there at UCF, and we're looking for a coach. Do you think you want to be, you'll be interested? I'm looking at, I'm like, really? You know what I'm saying? So I said, yeah. So she said, give me your name and your phone number, and I'll give it to Shannon. Shannon is a woman that runs that program, and it's an official program in the school, right? So I got a call from her. I spoke to her, and she told me, salary and all that stuff. I said, yeah, I'll come check it out and see, right? So she said, we have a tryout, because they have tryouts to select. They're looking for 22 players on the roster. So she said, hey, we got tryouts. I want you to come and help me to pick the team. I said, no. I said, I don't pick any teams. I said, I'll come to the tryouts. I look, you pick the team, and you give me the team. I said, I ain't gonna pick no team. I don't know these people. You know what I'm saying? So I went there. I'm watching them, and I'm just looking. And there was this one girl. I said, Shannon, I'm not gonna pick anybody, but you see that girl over there? That's what I'm gonna recommend. One girl. She looked at me and said, nah, she's too slow. She can't run. She can't. I'm like, don't worry about that. I said, speed is not the only factor here. I said, you can be fast and foolish, and you can be slow and productive. I said, speed kills. I said, just pick her, right? I said, I got a spot for her that doesn't require all that speed, the way the system that I play, right? So, bang, they picked the 22 players. And now the floor is mine. So I'm addressing these 22 players, right? So the sheet that she has, I said, Shannon, get them to put G, D, M, are F right next to their name. That will tell me what position each person play. That's the first thing I did. You know, after introducing myself, you know, give them my name and blah, 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 you know. So when I looked at, they put their names on there, right? And I looked at it. And I'm like, okay, I see 1G. We have 22 players. We have 1G. That signifies a goalkeeper. No, she's just a nut, you know. Goalkeepers are special people. They, you know, they do things that, you know what I'm saying? I mean, come on now, right? I saw 2 Ds, 2 defenders. Every other name next to every other name is MF. MF. And not mother effing, but midfielder defense, midfielders forwards, right? So I look at it, I'm like, wow. I said, so who other than these 2 young ladies play defense? I thought I would get a couple of hands. No hands. I said, listen. I said, here is the system that I play. I said, I play 4-4-2 from the back. I said, there are 4 defenders, 4 midfielders, 2 forwards. And I said, by the way, I says, 2 out of those 4 midfielders, their first responsibility is to defend. Because I said, look, if you can't score a goal on me, I can't lose the game. Worse is if I can get a tie, but I can't lose. I said, so if I only have 2 defenders out of 22 players, then and the goalkeeper is 3, then my old system is defeated. How am I going to win the game? Who's going to stop the goals from coming in? Because if I score 10 goals and the other team scores 11, I lose. What's the purpose of scoring 11 goals, 10 goals? If the other team is going to score one additional goal than us, right? So that's my philosophy. And I said, listen, when I say you're a defender, it doesn't mean that you're going to stand around the 18-yard box and just defend it. No, because that position moves. I said, you can defend at a halfway line. Okay, not baseball where the base can't move, you know what I'm saying? So it's an imaginary position. It moves according to where the ball is. You create that position. And what creates the position? The movements of the ball, not the person. Okay? So I said, plus, I said, as a defender, if I'm playing 4-4-2, there's only 2 forwards. So as a defender, you have a better percentage of being on the pitch than being a forward. You know what I'm saying? Because if I have six defensive position, and I have actually 7 because the goalkeeper is the last defender. So if I have 7 defender position out of 11, right? And you telling me that you're a forward, that means that you don't qualify for that midfield spot. So you do the math. You have less than what? You have a 5% chance of playing. And I said, I want to maximize your play time. So you're going to tell me if you're a forward, if I say, Mary, go play right fullback, you're going to tell me that, coach, I can't play that position? No, because you're going to sit on the bench, right? So I said, don't worry. I said, I will develop you for that position, right? And that's what I did. And guess who scored most of our goals? The defenders. If you look at how Liverpool plays, who are the 2 most prolific attackers? Not goal scorers, attackers.
The wing backs.
Thank you very much.
And, yeah.
Yes. Thank you very much, right? So So that's what I did. So in terms of the development stuff, right? You can develop players at different levels. But again, you need a philosophy, you need a system, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes we talk about, JFFF and all that stuff. JFFF, they can create a model, but the model is not necessarily the system. When I was coaching in some of these European clubs, right? I was talking to Mr. Ricketts about Claude Davis. He said he played against Claude Davis at Portmore. I didn't know he knew Claude Davis. Claude Davis came to Portmore, and he got a professional. I think he was playing with Wigan, right? Or one of those EPL sides. Is it Wigan or what is it?
Or Stoke. Was it Stoke?
I don't think it was Stokes. Was it Stokes?
I think it was at Derby.
He played for an EPL side. I think it was Wigan. I'm not sure, but he played for.
No, I know. I remember him playing there.
Yes. Well, look. See now, Claude now is one of those examples that I can point to. As a youngster, got the opportunity to come out as a professional, and he's now a resident of Florida, a family and all that stuff, right? Did he return to Jamaica to come contribute? He visits sometimes. I don't know what his contribution is, but good guy. He's the last DOC that I played under at Spirit United. Claude is now running a club called Liverpool FC.
He played at Sheffield and Derby. Yeah, he played at Derby.
Okay, good. Sheffield. Right. Good. All right. Now he's running Liverpool FC in Florida. Right? Great guy. He is the best DOC that I've ever worked under here in Florida. Knows his stuff, knows how to develop players, knows the game. I mean, knowledgeable. You know what I'm saying? So now he's running that under the umbrella of Liverpool. The guys that were GPS, they were running the umbrella on the Bayern Munich. So they came with the Bayern Munich formula, right? There was a club back in the day that's called Ajax. They had an academy. They folded like a tent. You know what I'm saying? They crumbled like a cheap chandelier, right? So what I'm saying is that even though the club may have a system or a formula or a format, it is still that responsibility of the coach to develop the players. And sometimes the coach has to employ or implement a system of his own. You know what I'm saying? It's not different from the four areas of the game. You see what I'm saying? It's just to have a philosophy where the players are gonna be willing to buy in, so to speak, and understand, you know what I'm saying, where you can get the maximum benefit out of that player, which is going to eventually benefit the game. Okay. When I was coaching adults here in the Central Florida League, I had a gentleman from. I was telling Mr. Ricketts about it yesterday. His name is Dave. I forgot his last name, but we call him Butter. Guy came out of Montego Bay. I didn't know this guy from a hole in the wall. One of my buddies from England, he's back in England now. I work with his wife, and she heard me talking about football on the phone. She said, David, my husband played semi-pro in England. You know, I'm gonna tell him about you to see if he could come on the team. I said, yeah, bring him. So when he came, you know, he was out of shape, overweight. He was done. You know what I'm saying? But then he said, hey, he said, I got a player for you. I said, yeah, bring him. I don't know this guy from a hole in the wall. So he met us. He met us at the game. We had a game on Sunday. I said, hey, we got a game on Sunday, man. And, hey, come to the game. I told him where the venue was, told him what time the game started. This guy was coming from work. It was like a 9 o'clock a.m. game. I don't know what time he was working, but he came in his work uniform, right? And he's short, little pop belly. So I was there with one of my other players, right? And I said, that guy looks like he's looking for somebody at the pitch, right? So I hail him up. He said, yeah, looking for Bob. I said, yeah, this is him. He said, yeah, I'm Butter. So before he came over to us, I looked at my boy. I said, man, he don't look like no baller. Dude said it took a shot. Bang, belly, man. He don't look like no baller. Okay? So when he came, I said, all right. Because we were, see, some of these guys, man, the game starts at 9 and they show up at 8:45. So my philosophy is, hey, we need you there at least 45 minutes before the game. We start checking in like 15 minutes before the game starts. You see, once I call my lineup, I don't care how good you are. You're not going to be jogging from the parking lot, no warm-up. And, Johnny's there. I said, no, Johnny's not here. Johnny's there. I said, hey, lineup, we warmed up. I call my starting lineup. And then Johnny, hey, go warm up and wait your turn. That's how I don't care how good you are. I don't care, right? So I had to put Butter in, right? So I said to him simply, I said, big man, what position you play? And very politely, calmly, he says, you can put me up top, man. I said, good. Because see, my philosophy is I put the crash cars up front, you know what I'm saying? as a defensive philosophy coach, put the crash car up front. Because if you notice, most of these games, man, they don't do the subs around the back unless they're ahead or unless one of the defenders are not holding the fort. But you notice the subs are usually midfield and forward because once you got that rhythm in the defense, man, you don't want to, you look on a corner. Even when they're going to sub a defender, it's never on a corner. They wait until that corner is taken and, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, I put this guy up top. Never seen this guy roll a ball, man. And I tell you, man, he collected a ball. And he started dribbling and about 40 yards out. Now this guy is dribbling with his right foot. And about 40 yards out, man, I didn't even realize how quick he switched to the left foot and he blasted a shot. Like it was like a cannon from a gun. That my assistant coach, we turned at the same time. He's like, it's a baller. Just the way how we manipulated that play. And let me tell you, man, I mean, it's crazy, man. This guy was just like ridiculous. So now he's out of shape. I know we played some Italian guys, man, and we want to win this game. So he's huffing, he's puffing. He said, Coach, I need a rest. And I said, hold on. I said, hey, I'm going to drop you at stopper. I said, I'm going to drop you at stopper. You just go there, relax. You know what I'm saying? He said, yeah, all right. Because, stopper now, well, you go and you just relax and, you know what I'm saying? Man, this guy went there, man. It's like nothing. His game did not diminish any. I mean, just his understanding of the position, man. He knew exactly what I wanted, man. He did exactly what I told him to do. That's how brilliant this player was, man. You know what I'm saying? Here's what was amazing, man. This guy, man, he could dribble. He could dribble the whole field, man. dribble, take you on the byline. I mean, it just that. I saw him did this one day. He put a ball in his neck. He was on the line, on the touch line. Nowhere to go. He flicked it up in his neck. And he was dancing on the line to get around the defender. And the Italian guy says, ref, handball. He's up in here, there ain't no handball, you know. So this is how brilliant this guy was. One day we had one of the best goalies in the league. This guy was an old former Sarrier goalkeeper. Short guy, good. Whenever we go to a penalty shootout, man, he said, hey, I'm going to score 3 goals. I'm going to save 3 goals. Don't worry. And he would save 3 goals. We didn't want this guy not to be there on a Sunday. He was not able to come on a Sunday. And we're there. I'm like, hey, we need a goalkeeper. Because mind you, how I ended up coaching those guys was because I told him, I said, hey, listen, we need a coach. We didn't have a coach. And one guy, hey, come, you sub, you're on the field subbing. I said, no, this thing is more serious than that. I said, I will be that coach. Why you? No, we need you on the pitch. I said, we have enough players. Okay? I said, I will go and coach. You're enough players on the pitch. And I said, look, I'm not going to be a player coach. Okay? I'm just a coach. I'm not going to be the player coach. I'm just going to coach because we need that person on the sideline because it was disorganized and, guys would like, so I had to put some discipline, some structure, right? And I was the guy for that because I don't care big baller. No, you don't know big baller. Go sit over there. You know what I'm saying? So I took that role because, nobody wants to be the bad guy.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm that bad guy. I can tell the best player, no, sit over there. You can't come to the game 5 minutes before playtime, kickoff, and tell me that I should take that guy out of the lineup. No, you go sit over there. You know what I'm saying? So we didn't have a goalkeeper one Sunday. And who do you think volunteered to go in the goal? My best player on the pitch, Butter. And guess what, man? As good as the Sarrier ex-keeper was, this guy was better than him in the goal. I'm looking at the guy and I'm like, how come you didn't get that opportunity? This guy, he not just from a skill position where you could dribble and all that stuff. I mean, just his temperament, his ability to address all the 4 areas of the game. He understood field awareness. He understood all of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Spacing, all of that thing. And that was, he went back to New York, right? But that is like an introduction to the entire X's and O's. Sometimes it's not the best talented player on the pitch, but it's who understands the game, right? I was not the best. When you say talent, I say to people, what does talent mean? Some people say, because you can dribble, I heard a coach the other day that says, what's his name? The one from Jamaica there that was on the floor with us.
Oh, Reynolds.
Yes, he says, dribbling, let the player dribble and express themselves. My philosophy on dribbling is different. That's not how I see dribbling, right? I always tell my players, there's a purpose. Everything that you do on the soccer pitch is a purpose, okay? The purpose is to win the game. How do you win the game? What formula are you going to use to win the game? Now you look at distance, right? You look at distance. Closer you are to that goal that you're trying to score is the better chance you get the percentage to score the goal. So how do you build to get to that goal, right? If you look at chess, you have to follow a certain system pattern. You can't just leave from the back of your place and get there, right? So I always ask the question. I ask my players, when I see somebody dribbling, I'm like, what's the purpose of dribbling? I can't get no answer. You know what I'm saying? And I believe I mentioned this to you on the phone the other day. I said, what's the purpose of dribbling? right? And for me, and nobody taught me this, but I developed this based on my own, on my own understanding. Because, see, football is a creative sport, right? You have to be thinking all the time, So I look at it, there's a purpose. There's a purpose for dribbling. There's a purpose to pass. There's a purpose to head the ball. It's like you don't bend down. We do this in Jamaica. You break away and you go down on your belly and you head the ball in. But do that when you're in a 50-50 situation. You don't do that stuff, right? So there's a purpose. So dribbling is a purpose, a time and a place for dribbling. So like I told you, the dribbling purpose for me, and I explain this to players, is to create time and space. Okay? I also mentioned that football, for me and my understanding, is it develops a critical thinking skills than any other sports that I'm aware of, because you have to think all the time. You have to know where you're at on the pitch all the time. The position moves and changes. You know what I'm saying? You can't call timeout. You can't do that stuff, right? So 3 people, the ball, 3 people coming for the ball. You have to know, hey, I got 10 teammates. When I tell kids I got 10 teammates, the goalkeeper is one of your teammates as well. You know what I'm saying? So I try to let them understand when we're attacking. I ask questions. Who are the open players when you are attacking? Who are the more than likely open players when you're attacking? It's not the person that's trying to find that space. That's not my question. Okay? If, let's say I'm playing you. You have 2 strikers. I have 4 defenders, right? When I'm attacking, I have 4 defenders. You have 2 strikers. When I'm attacking, how many defenders I have? I still have 4. You have to be defending. So you may have one of those 2 strikers or forwards coming back to help out on defense, right? So that's where now I'm going to employ 1 or 2 of my defenders into my attack. You see what I'm saying? So you have to understand in the game, you ever do like a 2v1 activity? And I use the word activity because I learned in my coaching career, when you're dealing with youth, you have to use terminology that is appropriate to the age. So I know we talk about drills. I don't talk about drill until I get to, that developed level where I'm dealing with older players. Because see, the word drill, it sounds like it's an army thing, drill sergeant. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to show up with youngsters and be like the drill sergeant, because at the end of the day, it starts out to be fun. Whether they're playing to win or not, they want to have fun. So I want to use a terminology that is appropriate to the age group, right? So whenever, and especially when I'm watching the Premier League games or professionals, whenever I see a 3v2 on the attack, they're not supposed to be a goal. Because it's difficult for you to use 2 defenders to defend 3 attackers, because there's so many options. Remember I told you I was in Jamaica and I'm playing the sweeper and I was on roller skates, right?
That's the reason.
Right? So when you have that, dribbling is not the time for that scenario. You see what I'm saying? If you notice, and I'll ask this question all the time, what is the most dangerous play in the game to defend against?
To defend against?
Yes.
A ball that is played over the top.
From where?
From the wing.
Corner kicks, or coming across the box, right?
You're talking about active play. I thought you were talking about active play.
Yeah, it's active. Active too, coming from the flanks, right?
Squares.
Exactly. There's no dribbling there. No. You know why? Because it's so difficult for the defenders to catch that ball coming across, whether it's from a corner kick or a cross coming across. If you notice, most plays are developed on the flanks, on the wings, just like you say with Liverpool. When Robinson makes his overlapping dribble, he doesn't cut in. He goes down the line. He squares it across. Same thing with the other guy there, the little young one. Like he can't defend the lick. Yeah, right. So that's the most difficult. The crossing ball, whether it's from a corner kick or a cross, that's the most difficult play to defend, especially from a goalkeeper standpoint. Okay, plays coming down the middle. The goalie's watching it. He can save all them balls. You know what I'm saying? You save it, right? The defender, the ball is coming across. The defender has to, who is running on, who is coming on, because, you know, players are, they tell you, just throw it across the box. Sometimes the guy's trying, where does most of the own goal scores from? Those kind of plays, right? So that is an analogy that I use to tell players, you got to know when to dribble and when not to dribble.
Sure.
You know how many times I see the rift between what's his name, Mane
and Salah.
Yes, you see that rift all the time. Mane is wide open, Salah is making that dribble, boom, and you know what I'm saying? You know, so that's a part of the philosophy that we do, and those are some of the activities that I instill in the young players so they can understand that, hey, this is not golf or tennis. You have 10 other teammates. You need to look to see who is in the best position, because when you look at it, when you read the score of a game, if two teams are playing, it says Chelsea 1, Man U 0.
True.
So the goal that I score, you score that goal too. You know what I'm saying? So if I got 3 players around me and we're in the 18-yard box, that means 2 of my players are not being defended. So I have to pick my head up, and you know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm talking about, critical thinking skill. You know, you have to be aware. You have to be proactive. The one thing I tell my players, I don't want no hindsight here. You know what I'm saying? We have to have foresight and insight. And that's what this game does. Because after that ball is in the back of the net, you can't say, well, oh, you should have been over there, or you should have been over there. And you know what I'm saying? Because that's no hindsight. It's over with, it's done. You can't change that. So those things are a part of my personal philosophy that I believe, you know, it's how you communicate that. It's how you nurture that. It's how you get the players to buy into that. You know what I'm saying? To understand that this is not individual, and because every player is coming there with their own perspective. So how do you collectively get that perspective on the same page? You see what I'm saying? And I think that's a major part of the responsibility of a coach, not just to get talent and just say, well, hey, let's go play and all of that stuff, you know. So that's just a part of my philosophy. But again, it is all built around the 4 aspects of the game, because everything that I just went over with you, I can direct you to each one of those areas and show you that all of what I mentioned is a part of those 4 areas.
I understand totally.
So that's the thing that we could do as far as development in the run of plays and you know, enhancing performance with players. And you don't have to be a Pele, because I was never a Pele. I was never the guy who was gonna, I could do certain things, but that was not my thing. I wasn't the guy who's gonna dribble you and you know, meg, and no, that was not my game. You know, I was more fundamental, you know, because of my position. The position that I play, you know, does not require those kind of things. And then you don't see that in the game all the time. So my thing was speed of play. And we talk about speed of play, doesn't mean how fast you run. It's how quickly you can make that decision. You know what I'm saying? I have a 2 seconds. I have a 2-second theory, which I use with the players. 2 seconds. It's not 2 seconds to do what you want to do. It's 2 seconds to make the decision. Okay? So understand what I'm saying here. The decision may require 10 seconds. But I want you to take 2 seconds to make that decision, because the decision making, me, is the biggest part of the game, which is a part of the psychology of the game. Okay, because if the decision is wrong, then the action is going to be wrong.
Definitely.
Nothing from the decision is going to change what that decision was. You see what I'm saying? So when you start thinking about correction, the job is going to be harder to correct than if it's executed on the right decision.
In the first step.
So that's kind of some of the philosophy that I have, which I try to embed that into the players. And then when they execute it, man, it's
Beautiful.
And that's how I played, because my position was to stop you from scoring. My position was to make sure that I organized the back. It has nothing to do with dribbling. So I always have this, hey, when I get the ball, 2 touches. My first touch, I want to make sure that I'm in a position to execute my decision with that second touch. So if the second touch requires a pass, I'm already in that position mindset, ready to go. If the position means I gotta dribble, and you don't have to dribble to beat somebody. You can just dribble into space to get away from your opponent, to make a better pass. You know what I'm saying? So people think that dribbling, I gotta dribble you. No. You know what I'm saying? And I was not afraid to get beat. You got something. I don't want to get beat. No, I'm not afraid. I can get beat, but guess what? You beating me, I send you to another position where you're not as dangerous as you would be if I didn't come to send you where, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand.
So those kind of philosophical stuff. That's what made me the player that I was, and I was winning balls, make no tackles, because the more tackle you make is the more energy you expend. So on the game, very demanding. I want to conserve my energy. I don't want to be running all over the place, because I don't want to be that guy that's coming back and with my hand on my side and no, I don't want that, because I'm a liability to the team when I get that. So, play smart. You know what I'm saying? Play intelligent, yes. And that's, so I had guys, man. I was talking to Mr. Ricketts yesterday. We got a guy, Murray, my buddy, man. We played college ball together, not together. I played against him. We played club ball. I played against him. I would never put him. I coached him. I'd never put him at defense. I could never put him at defense because he doesn't know it. He doesn't want to do that. He dribbles, hey, boss your salad open, and then he dribbles, and then he's winded, he's walking back. Then guess what? You serve him the next ball, he's done. You know what I'm saying? So you have to understand that part of the game as well. And right now, man, the way the game is playing now, one of the things I believe is that looking at the Jamaican football and where it's at, I don't think that we have evolved with the technology where the game is at today. We're still behind the technology because the game is so technologically advanced now that it's about possession. You know what I'm saying? Dribbling has nothing to do with possession. You know what I mean? And what the possession does, it demoralizes the opponent from a mental capacity and also from a physical. Think about you chasing that ball. It's here, it goes there, and you going all over the place. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. That's so true.
You know what I'm saying? So that's a possession game. It's not a dribbling stuff. No, it's because dribbling takes more energy out of you than if the ball is working. I mean, if you look at these professionals, guys that are doing this every day, it's their job. They practice, they practice penalty kicks. That's their specialty. when these games go into that 30-minute overtime, 90 plus 30, you see them taking PKs, man. They're blasting them over the top. Because they're exhausted mentally and physically.
That's true.
And this is something, if they take a PK in the game, 99.9% is going to go in. You see what I'm saying? So you have to know, and that's why they talk about fresh legs. That's one of the reasons why Klopp is advocating for this, to put the 5 subs permanent. You know what I'm saying? You get more options, you know? Because they implemented that for COVID stuff, and they kind of took it off, and now he's advocating for it.
For it again, yeah, I understand.
Yeah, so you know, but like I said, I'm gonna send you the document stuff, and then you could look at the 4 aspects of the thing, and then you could see some of them overlap
No problem.
each other. You know, so yeah, but like I said, I'm kind of a little bit tardy because there was some other stuff that
Don't worry about it, man.
you know. So, you know, yeah. So, you know, yeah, but that's the perspective where I'm at. And you know, if you have any specific questions or any areas, then you know, shoot it.
Definitely.
And you know, like I said, I don't want to have a monologue. You know what I'm saying? So
I know. Because,
you know what I mean? So yeah, man.
What happened though? What happened this today?
Mm-hmm.
Because school started this week. So everything was a little bit chaotic this week. Everything was chaotic. And then my JLL, he had to get some surgery done and stuff. So it was
What's GLL?
Here, a grade level.
What's it? You said your GL. Oh, grade level.
A grade level leader. That's what they call him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So it was a bit chaotic.
Yeah, man. Yeah, listen, man. Hey, teachers enough. I have a son that's a teacher, you know, and trust me, man. I mean, he's involved in so many stuff that
I'm telling you.
I have to make an appointment with him when I want him to do something with me.
Definitely.
So, you know, I understand that, you know, but I tell you, man, I tell you, say, I can go on and I can share so much stuff. And I like to share some of my experience, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I didn't, it's like the jobs that I've had in my life, no one has ever taken me to the job to recommend me. It's always on my abilities. You know what I'm saying? I just walk into the company, hey, what is this? And, you know, the same thing. All the coaching jobs that I've had, it's just based on my abilities. You know, when I became the developer, what they call the Excel, and I don't even know what that acronym means, but it's a program where you develop, like I said, the 3, 4, 5, 6-year-olds. They call it Excel. I don't know what that means. So, like I said, I was a referee as well. So while I was refereeing the youth games, I was the only referee who would ref it in a professional manner where I would, you know, for the referee, player safety is the first and foremost objective, right? The problem is some of these referees, both young and old, that's not what their first responsibilities were. They were letting these kids whack each other because the kids don't understand the laws. So kids were just, you know, and they would let the kids play. No, so blow my whistle. And I would explain the laws to the kid. Hey, no, you can't do that. I said, when you get older, that behavior, you get a yellow card. You need to get a red card. I'm not giving none of those cards. You know what I'm saying? But I would stop. I would explain to them, you know? So the gentleman that invited me to come and run that program, he was responsible for that aspect of the club. So then when he called me, when he watched me, man, and parents were like, yeah, you know, he's the only ref that, you know, he talks to the kids, you know what I'm saying? And you know, those kind of things. And hey, this is how you do the throwing. You got to keep both feet on the ground and blah, 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 right? Other refs would let him play. So they weren't treating it as serious as I was, which it's supposed to be. That's also another part of development, right? So then he approached me after a game and he says, hey, you want to come run that program? I said, sure. So that's how I ended up doing that stuff, because once my youngest daughter had stopped playing the game, I stopped coaching, except for me coaching the adults.
Yeah.
I think so. I went there and I developed those kids, and that's when I got back into the little youth coaching from there, because I took a couple of the kids and and started a team. And I'm always scratching for players, because I would take the players that after tryouts, we don't want that one because they're not good enough. So I would take them and I say, hey, you have a friend at school? They don't play soccer. I bring him. Let me give the parent my number, and I get them, and boom, 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 and that's how we develop. Even kids who have no knowledge of the game. So it can be done. Like you said, having the right person in that position who takes it serious.
Yeah, takes it serious. Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. So that's from my perspective, and I know it works, and so. When I send you some stuff, man, you'll see, that. And I use the philosophy of coaches in different sports. You know what I'm saying? When you get a guy called there's a guy, Roy Williams. He's a famous basketball coach. My son brought me his book. So if you look at those guys, you'll see a little synopsis of them.
Roy Williams.
Roy Williams. There's another guy named I mentioned him. Did I mention him to you? No, I think I mentioned him to Ricky. From UCLA. Tell you what his name is. He coached Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in college. I read his book too. I have a copy of his book too. I read all that stuff. He lived until he was 101 years old.
Wow.
I used some of his philosophy to incorporate in my coaching philosophy, even though it has nothing to do with football or X's and O's. You know what I'm saying? So that's also what I'm saying. I search outside of the realm of myself and outside of the realm of my coach. You know what I'm saying?
To grow.
Yes, or my sport, to find, because that's how, like I told you before, models, formula. You see what I'm saying? So that's pretty much. I don't know if you know this guy. This guy played basketball, Hakeem Olajuwon.
Yeah. No.
From African guy, right? Guy started playing basketball in high school. And
he's one of the NBA greats.
Centers. You know what he says, how he developed his greatness? He said he watched his opponents on the pitch while he's playing and when he's not playing. Okay? Man, I watch soccer, man, because see, I'm retired, so I spend most of put a soccer game on, man. I don't care if it's women. I don't care if it's a Turkey league. I don't care if it's whatever. I watch every and anything soccer-wise, right? And I look at referees, I look at players, and I add that to my toolkit. Olajuwon says, I watch the great players. And I take little bits and pieces from each one of their games, and I put it in my game. You see what I'm saying? So
sorry, I don't understand.
So my thing is, what I do is I look at all other types of stuff that I could incorporate in my knowledge as far as coaching is concerned, So that's what I do. And I find it to be very, very helpful, as opposed to just being tunnel, I find a lot of coaches, they're tunnel. And they believe that what I do is what I do. But what I do is based on the contribution of other coaches, other systems, other stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know this thing all by myself. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, and I don't have a problem. I'm not afraid to look behind me. I've taken, see, when you're working in a youth club, you are the only one that gets paid. You don't get a paid assistant. Okay? So how do you manage 14 and 16 youngsters that you're trying to teach something that they don't have a clue about? Right?
It's not easy. I understand. Definitely.
You can't do it by yourself. So what I do now is I have to find a parent of one of those youngsters to volunteer, because I can't pay you. You know what I'm saying? So I find a parent to volunteer to be in that role. How do you think those parents, they don't have a clue? Not like Jamaica where, you know, they have some sense of the game. So I now have to not only educate, teach your child, but I have to educate you also in a way that you can assist me. Because, hey, I'm going to give you an assignment that's relative to the development. So I have to teach you what I want you to do. You see what I'm saying? So I also incorporate that in my philosophy. You know what I'm saying? So what I send you, you will see, you know, you will see a little bit more mention of that.
Man, definitely.
Yeah. Because I want to, like I said, I'm trying to see how best I can assist you. Financially, I can't do that. I don't have that ability. I would love, man, listen, man. I would love to finance a program in Jamaica for those unfortunate youngsters.
Yeah, I understand.
I would love to do that. So, and here's what I would suggest. I'm a retiree. I'm living off a fixed income. However, right, if you can, or if we can develop some way of generating some revenue, right? Whether it's, because some of the things that we do from the alumni is we have like fundraisers. No, we can't do a dance anymore because that's the COVID, right?
Yeah.
Now, in lieu of the dance, this is something that you may want to consider. If you can organize like a virtual stuff, right? Whatever it is, and I can give you an idea what we do, right? Because we can't keep we can't keep a physical dance, so we're doing a telethon, virtual, right? We're doing a virtual telethon, and all we're doing is we're selling a raffle, right? We're selling raffles and we're doing the drawing online. And on the telethon, what we do now, we're gonna solicit funds. So I think this is what I think can work, because you have the voice, you have the platform, right? So if you can develop an event virtually, right, in the name of your football talk, you see all the coaches that you're affiliated with, like myself and those guys, right? If you can develop a forum where we do a telethon, a fundraiser to support that youth football development in Jamaica, I think we could start that. I would be willing to donate something. You know what I'm saying? So if you can get, I don't know if you're affiliated with 10 coaches outside of the US, all of these big coaches that are getting paid and stuff. And let's say you find 10 of us and we each donate, you know, $100. That's $1,000. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying that there are other ways of generating revenue. So that may be something that we want to discuss. How can we generate revenue to get, you know what I'm saying, to get to where you want to get? And then I don't know what your connection is in Jamaica, where you could go and say, hey, I got $1. I want you to match this. So we could implement this. You see what I'm saying? So I don't know. I don't know if that's in the realm of your thinking. I don't know if that's the realm of
Yeah, something that we can look into.
right? Because see, what I can tell you, man, is the powers to be, their interest is not as profound as yours or mine. And I can tell you that's how society is. You know what I'm saying? Because I live in a community here. I'm paying my taxes, right? And the money that I'm paying that is supposed to be used to repair and maintain the property, they don't want to use it. So now I'm beating my head up in these people. So now I went to City Hall, who's supposed to be enforcing, these rules, and their bureaucracy is just different. So I'm here spinning, you know what I'm saying? So the people that we're looking towards, who is in the position, right, to implement what you and I are talking about, they don't care about it.
They don't.
So my thing is, can we start something to initiate something that we're looking to them to set up for us, right? I'll tell you this quickly. When I was in college, I'm running a program, right? So when you go to school, parts of your tuition goes to the student government, which in turn uses that to fund student programs, right? So we had a Caribbean student union. So the school would allocate funds from our tuition to operate those programs. Now, we were more culturally oriented. And that group, they were just dealing with just parties and stuff. Yeah, we don't want no part. We want we want to bring speakers on the campus to talk about, cultural stuff. We want to bring some African dancers on there, put on some program, right? So we wrote up the preamble. Because if you're gonna start a program, you got to write the preamble. You submit it to the student government, and then they review it, and then they determine if they're gonna fund it or not. So when we wrote our preamble, they reviewed it. They said, "Oh no, it's replicating what the Caribbean Student Union is doing." I says, "No, it doesn't." But of course, they're the powers to be. They determine that. So I went back to my group. I said, look, because we believe in Garveyism, Marcus Garveyism. He talks about self-sufficiency, right? So I went back to the group. We had our meetings. I said, hey, since we believe in Garvey says self-reliance. I said, so here's what we're going to do. Now we're all students. We don't have any money, right? We're just working off of whatever scholarship we're getting from the school money, and you know what I'm saying? So I said, all right, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna start throwing some dues. I said, we're not going to establish any amount. If you have a quarter, and this is like in the 70s, bro. I said, if you got 25 cents a quarter, stick it in. If you got $1, stick it in, right? We were able to collect $28.50. $28.50. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, if we wait, man, $28.50, what are we going to do with this? It took us about 3 weeks to a month to get that amount because, people don't want to put out no money, right? I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay. I said, I got an idea. I said, what can I use this $28 to do? So I invested the $28.50. I went down to the market, the terminal market. They sell the wholesale stuff. I bought a box of oranges, a box of apple, and a box of banana. That's all the $28 could have gotten me, right? I brought it back on the campus. I stood in the middle of the campus where everybody has to walk to and from classes. Broke out the boxes, man. 25 cents for a banana, 25 cents for an apple, 25 cents for an orange, right? And man, we kept turning that to the point now where we stopped collecting dues because we don't have any money to throw no dues. So that $28, man, I mean, we started making money like crazy money. Now we started to do our programs. You know what the school administration did at that point in time? They came now to fund the same preamble that we wrote initially. You know why? Because they saw this business kicking, man. Now we were like 2 boxes, 3 boxes, because people, you go to class, you just grab a banana, you grab an apple, you know what I'm saying? 25 cents, bargain, 25. Man, that money was like booming, right? So they decided to fund us. We took it. But here's the deal. We had to stop that activity.
I know.
Right? Which was okay. But here's what they did. They took that idea and they took it into the student union building. Okay? But what I'm saying though is that we found out, and it was okay because we were not looking to make any profit off of it. We just wanted to make enough funds so that we could put our activities on, bring speakers in, you know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying to you now, I'm just saying that to say that, and I've done that for my own personal entrepreneur because I had my own business before and that's how I started. So what I'm saying is that, and I can work with you on that. You know, I've started youth programs. I've written RFPs. I've gotten funds, you know what I'm saying? Thousands of dollars, you know what I'm saying? So you have a forum here, which is great. So we can sit here and talk about development and X's and O's and systems until the cows come home. But the bottom line is that we can make a greater contribution, right? When we can solicit some funds and bring it in to support. That's how we do these alumni stuff. I did a park event one time. I had no money. No money. Rented a park, boom. Like $35 for the space. And I just sold some tickets. Hey, come and eat. And after the end of the day, man, people came there, belly full, eat. I was able to fly $2,000 at Kingston College, give it to the principal, use it accordingly. You see what I'm saying? So there are little ways that we can start, get it off the ground. And then when we show these highfalutin people, you know, how it works, then, you know what I'm saying? We can solicit. There's a lot of companies in Jamaica. Sure. We can solicit, you know, we can write RFPs, you know what I'm saying, and solicit these funds. And you can get people to sponsor. You know, I hear people talk about private sponsors. How are we recruiting those sponsors? You know what I'm saying? Because there's a way that you have to make a presentation. You know, it's different from saying, well, I'm running a tournament and I need a guy, okay, here's $1,000 or, you know, but then what happens after that? You know what I'm saying? So you want something that's residual, something that is structural, that folks can, that's why they call it an RFP, request for proposals. So it's a program that you write and people can see, well, yes, my investment, my contribution is doing something positive. See, when I come to Jamaica, man, people put Mario on a pedestal because of the success that he's experiencing based on the support. They're building a computer program era where, how do they get those support? We send computers, we put money in there. They're putting up buildings, classroom. We support that, okay? And we generate the funds, not just from our own pockets, but activities, events, you know? So you could find a way, man, to use this venue, like I said, through a telethon, or you get some coaches and we could discuss how can we generate some funds to support a program, a youth program in Jamaica that will initiate this state of the youth football in Jamaica. Because you have the issue right there. You have the concern. And I know this is a topic that a lot of people are discussing all over the place.
That's true.
You see what I'm saying? So now here's the thing. You talk about giving back, right? We need to look at how can we contact some of these successful youth, right? Like Raheem Sterling, Bailey, some of these MLS guys over here to say, hey, listen, man, you know what I'm saying? That's what I would propose that we start looking into. How can we get to some of those guys and let them know what this is about and try to see how can they speak to this and see what can you contribute to this. True. You know what I mean? When Raheem Sterling came to Jamaica the other day, where did he go? What did he do? He went to the place where the COVID super spreader place, right? He went to Bolt's party. You know what I'm saying? Did he go to another place? And that guy came from some serious, unfortunate background. You know what I'm saying? So did anybody arrange for him to go into like one of those, you know, underdeveloped place and go address some youth and you know what I'm saying? This is what we need to do. This is what the Football Federation, because they know people who have contact with those people. So how do we, instead of saying we want those players to come back, it's not going to happen. So how can we get them to give back? You know what I'm saying? It's not to come back, it's to give back.